All right, guys, it's time to get this going. All right, trying out a new intro since people made fun of me for saying let's get this party started. I guess you guys don't like parties. Anyway, I saw today somebody had showed me that Think Before You Sleep got the old copyright strike. No, he didn't. He got a community guidelines violation. Those are two different things, guys. I guess I could just show it to you. But yeah, he got a community guidelines violation. Oh, that's not what I want. Something else on Twitter. Anyway, he got a community guidelines violation for, I guess, bullying and doxing or something. It was so weird, and I think it's because Noah Samsen put his video out, and a bunch of people mass reported him. From what I saw, I remember covering this a while ago. Think Before You Sleep. His video. Okay, he covered this girl, the Illymation thing. She made a video that I thought was nice. That was basically just saying, hey, when I was younger, I was a little overweight, but not like dangerously overweight really at all. And toxic diet culture made me feel like I was really, really overweight, and I started developing bad behaviors because of that. And I wish that I kind of just lived my life. It was like a very interesting piece. It wasn't super scientific, but it makes sense. I think we all understand, you know, especially when you're a little older. Back then, The Biggest Loser was the biggest thing out there. Like, hey, lose 10 pounds in a week, but not healthy. It's really not healthy to lose that much weight that quickly. 1 to 2 pounds. It really depends on how, like for me, I could probably lose maybe 3 pounds tops healthily because I'm very overweight, but you really don't want to lose too much. And we had a very toxic diet culture and had a very negative impact. And I remember I could identify with her story because I remember I used to go bring Diet Cokes to school and I would just drink Diet Coke in my 9 hours of class. That's not really a good idea, right? I would have a nice breakfast and I would just drink Diet Coke and I'd be hungry all day and my breath would stink. And this one time, this girl turned around, she's like, "You want some gum?" And I was like, "No, thank you." And she's like, "Oh, because your breath stinks." And I thought she was being nice, but then I got upset. And then I would binge when I got home, right? And that's what I interpreted her video as. You know, Think Before You Sleep made his video and he actually did a little bit, and that's fine. Like, that's just his content, you know. So we did some commentary on it. She ended up trying to call for him to get some kind of a ban. Obviously not the right way to go. He didn't do anything harassing, though I will say his audience is probably toxic. I think it is toxic, and not because he's like a conservative or anything. There's a lot of toxic communities all over the internet. And then Noah Samsen made a video, and then he got his video removed here. The one thing I will say is that YouTube is terrible when it comes to videos getting pulled down. You have to talk to them on Twitter. If you don't talk to them on Twitter, you're not going to get your video back on. But they will respond on Twitter, and they are much better about it. It's weird. But their internal service, I've had, I think last year, I have 4 videos taken down? I think I got 3 of them put back up. Because I went on Twitter and I typed on there. The first 2 were like a week, which was really frustrating, but one of them was like very quick, and now they're a little bit better about it. It seems like he's already gone through his warning, which is bizarre because you can take a little test and you can get rid of your warning after 3 months, so hopefully he does that. But yeah, I'm curious what the Noah Samsen video is. Thank you so much, Bisk, for the small gut. I can't pronounce your name. Incredible stuff. So yeah, let's just get this party started. It's called Think Before You Dox. I don't know how doxing has anything to do with it, but yeah, let's go.
To is Sean. Hi, Sean. Time animation. You may notice a random child.
Yeah, I didn't want to start it off with that. It's a little bit of a weird introduction, brother. I don't know what you're doing.
Throughout the video, that's me. That's me as a boy. It's my new little voiceover avatar thing.
Why?
Find that out. Hope it's not terrible. Okay.
Uh-oh, guys. That's just weird, man. I don't know why you did that, brother. But okay.
On December 21st of last year, the storytime animation YouTuber Illymation released a video called Perks of Being the Fat Kid. 2 months later, the anti-woke YouTube channel Think Before You Sleep
Anti-woke. I mean, it's pretty much anti-woke. I'm going to look for a picture that you guys are going to want to see of me as a kid.
Hereafter referred to as Sean. Hi, Sean. Responded to Illy's video in a video titled Fat Acceptance Cartoon. Right after Sean posted this
which, last time we checked, is still down, guys. So
response, the comment section on Illy's video went through some changes.
Yeah, listen, here's my thing. Like I said, it seems like his audience is toxic. That's not because he's conservative, but there's a lot of, because, you know, Destiny's audience is toxic too. It doesn't mean that you're not right. But I will say, I think that there needs to be kind of like an active movement, if you will, of holding content creators a little bit responsible for their audience. Not like in a super incredible way, but if you notice a pattern of your audience being very toxic, then maybe it's time for you to, at the beginning of all your videos, say, hey guys, don't bully people. I know it sounds stupid and campy and cringe and lame, but it does more than you think. There's always going to be shitty people that aren't going to listen to what you have to say. But there are usually, I like to think, maybe this is my ignorance, that a lot of people hearing that will go, you're right, I shouldn't be such an asshole. My bust, doggy. Right? Maybe I'll even talk like that. Like a middle-aged man acting gangsta. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Anyway, I think that at the very least, that's a considerate thing to do. And I think it sets the tone that like you don't encourage or allow like shitty behavior. That's what I would say. That's really the only criticism I have, like other than disagreement of opinion that I have with Think Before You Sleep. You know, I think it's a good thing to try your best to curb some of that bullshit.
It was flooded with hate comments, threats, insults, inflammatory accusations, also a lot of anti-Semitism, so that's kind of...
Hey, boost! Check this out. This is me as a baby, but also as a older baby. We call that a teenager, I think. Or maybe I was 10 or 8.
When one of her comments, threats, insults, inflammatory accusations, also a lot of...
Jewish. Why so many Jewish things here?
Anti-Semitism, so that's kind of weird. When one of her followers reached out on Tumblr to ask if she'd seen the video, Illy replied, and after expressing frustration about the harassment she was receiving, she ended the post by asking her followers to report the video. In response to this one Tumblr post, Sean made a whole new video, Woke YouTuber is trying to deplatform me, in which he accused...
Yeah, I mean, he's got enough of a right to do that, because again, I understand where her feelings are coming from. Okay? I feel where her feelings are coming from because I identify more with her feelings wise. I'm a very feelings person. I love, you know, but you shouldn't be calling for people's to active deplatforming if they haven't violated the rules.
Illy of leading a campaign of targeted harassment
campaign
and mass flagging
campaign against me, mass flagging campaign, mass flag his channel, mass flagging
against him and his smaller channel,
deplatform a smaller creator, harass a much smaller creator
in order to
the smaller creator thing is a little silly because like, brother, you're a pretty big creator. So I don't know. I hate it when people do that kind of stuff. It's like I don't know. I'm a smaller creator. You're bullying me. I think it's so cringe.
Deplatform him.
And I've had bigger creators like, you know, say dumb shit to me all the time. Like I just find it cringe when people will use that like excuse, you know.
Deplatform me to try and get me deplatformed
and take away his source of income.
Take away my source of income.
Kind of based though, bro. Don't mess with my money, baby.
The only evidence he has provided for any of these accusations is that one Tumblr post. This new video from Sean.
Yeah, it's a Tumblr post where she says
source of income.
Where she says that she wants people to like a channel. Yeah, I submitted reports, but it takes a while for human review. YouTube, I chatted with the help desk person today in live. Sorry, helpful. Unfortunately, I have to sit tight. Okay. I mean, from what I remember, I thought it was worse than that. But I guess if she just was messaging them and saying like, "Hey, take his stuff down," and YouTube didn't do it, that's different than a mass flagging campaign. So
the evidence he has provided for any of these accusations is that one Tumblr post. This new video from Sean brought Illy even more
targeted harassment,
which culminated in her receiving death threats, rape threats, and being doxxed.
Jesus Christ, bro! You think before you sleep, brother. You got to get your fucking audience under control, man. That's crazy.
For her safety, she was forced to leave her home state, breaking the lease on her apartment, which cost her over $10,000 in legal fees.
Is that real? Did she actually go that far? Jesus Christ. That's fucking crazy. Wow.
Sean, meanwhile, made out with a slightly better deal. 3 videos, 2.3 million views, 40,000 new subscribers, and a big stack of Google AdSense money. There's so much that I want to talk about from this situation. I want to talk about how Sean spends a good amount of his video insulting Illy's appearance under the guise of giving her tips on how to be more attractive.
She could easily be considered attractive by most people if she just stopped wearing those grandma glasses, picked better clothes.
Oh yeah. You know what's so funny? When I heard him saying this, this is just weird behavior that you're engaging in. People were like, actually he's giving her advice. It's like, you're a weird person. Like, it's weird to give that type of advice to her. It was just bizarre. It's like, it's not normal offline behavior to be doing like, you know, you would look better if blah, 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 you know? It's bizarre, especially since it's like unironic. You know what I mean? Like, if it's one thing if he's just like fucking around, like I like to make jokes. Guys, I'm a jokester. But he's like unironically giving her this advice. I was like, this is just weird and uncomfortable. It's just, it's a little inhuman. Like, it's just weird, man.
Learn how to style her hair instead of always leaving it flat to her head with maximum forehead showing, and watch some makeup tutorials.
I want to talk about how he spent what must have been hours digging around her social media.
Oh yeah, he got upset with her because she had a grimace shake, but she wasn't like unhealthily overweight, like any capacity, so.
Media accounts to find photos of her eating junk food and of her body at a time when she weighed less in order to accuse her of lying about her diet.
So now I have to do some investigating to find out what Alyssa's eating habits are. After scrolling down through her community tab, the only thing I was able to see her eating was ice cream.
Yeah, I'm assuming that was like the grimace shake meme. You know, it wasn't really that serious.
I want to talk about how he had to lie for a lot of these insults, like how the very next post on her community tab after the milkshake thing showed her holding a bag of wheat bread.
Oh, damn. Wait, he didn't show that?
Or how the photo he used to insult her fashion sense by saying she dresses like a homeless person.
Holy shit, that is bad. This girl
I didn't think that the outfit's that bad. I don't understand.
He used to insult her fashion sense by saying she dresses like a homeless person.
Holy
I don't think that dress is that bad. I don't know. I mean, like, babe, I don't know. You know, when you compare anybody to, like, if I, you know what I mean? Like, if you compare anybody in the real world to this guy over here, obviously, you can't look as good as me. But in general, like, I think she looks nice there. Does she not look? She looks cute. Like, if she, you know, like, I don't understand. Like, I don't know why there was like, compared to like a fucking Hollywood superstar, you're not going to look the same. But she looks nice there. I don't understand why people were being so, like, why he was being so weird about it.
shit, that is bad. This girl has millions of followers, yet if you saw her out in public, you'd be afraid that she's about to pester you for spare change.
No, she looks more like a horse girl, man. Not the.
Was taken while she was hiking, and Sean knew that, but cropped out
Yeah, and it probably was chilly also.
the identifying information. So
Wait, she was hiking and he cropped that out, but doesn't that go against his idea that she exercises? Damn, Sean's getting kind of fucking nay-nayed here a little bit. Sean, what are you doing, brother? I was rooting for you, Sean. I wasn't rooting for you. I'm gonna be honest with you, but
that his audience wouldn't, the less perceptive ones anyway, given that she's, you know, sitting on a log in dirt. I want to talk about all that, but I have to shelve those points for now because there's a more pressing issue at hand, which is that Sean's videos caused a doxing. On the internet, things like doxing and harassment are often treated as natural law. Mean comments are inevitable. Even if you ask people not to, they'll still leave them. If people
that's true. But again, I think that you can ask people and you can make like a conscious effort to not accept that type of behavior in your community.
are going to take things too far, like doxing, then there's not much you can really do to stop it. This seems to be Sean's perspective on the matter.
This comment brigading behavior appears to just be a fact of nature that creators can't control. So really, it's on YouTube to make an interface change that addresses this problem.
The only real exemption from this
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like it's one of those things where you don't have to have like this explicit responsibility to do the right thing. You know? Like, yeah, it would be good for YouTube to do more, but at the end of the day, it's like, why not try to be like, yeah, guys, like, it's shitty that you're doing this, and make a big point out of it. Tell those people that they're not welcome in your community, etc., etc. You know, it's just like, because those people, like, if you're a doxer person, you're not welcome in my community. You know, like, and I don't have the same number of followers as him. I understand that it's a little different, but yeah, it's just yucky behavior, man. Why would you want to be a yuckster? Why do you want to have that even associated with your platform? You know?
excuse seems to be when a creator directly asks their audience to harass or dox someone. If that doesn't happen though, then sorry, it's the internet. Now, while that may be the case in some situations, this is not one of them. Sean didn't ask anyone to dox or harass Illy. What he did do, though, is misrepresent and deceptively edit her video in order to conjure ideas which directly motivated the people who did. And when I say directly, I mean directly. We doxed Illy because she tried to get another popular content creator, Think Before You Sleep, taken down by YouTube, all because he made a video rightfully criticizing her. She is also
It wasn't really rightful. It was kind of weird. I don't know.
promoting fat culture and how being fit and working out your body is useless and fatphobic.
That's not what she had said at all. She was just talking about how when she was young, she was like tracking calories, even though she wasn't really overweight, and like it was make a very negative interaction with her. And she wishes she focused a little bit less on, like, I guess, trying so hard and living her life, and she would have been happier because she's not at like a really unhealthy weight. Like, your best criticism could be like, hey, listen, if you're a very overweight person and you heard that video, you might get like the wrong idea. You know, like and I get that. But outside of that criticism, there's really nothing there.
He also promotes it's an anti-trans slur and woke culture. That was posted on the website that hosted Illy's doxing information. The actual doxing took place on a different website, and the very first post of the original doxing thread shared these same motivations. We need to dox her because she promotes fat culture, she believes in woke bullshit, and when a based YouTuber like Think Before You Sleep called her out, she threw a fit and asked her fans to mass flag his channel to get it deleted.
Jesus Christ.
The people harassing her in the comments are motivated by these same ideas. Illy is woke, Illy wants to deplatform Sean, and Illy promotes obesity. These accusations
Yeah, the fucking anti-woke shit's so annoying. Woke shit's annoying too, I'm not gonna lie. But the anti-woke shit is obnoxious too. It's like, all you guys can shut the fuck up. It's like so weird. Thank you so much for the $5 from Hunter ACD. Papa, hey Papa, longtime viewer, and got more into content creation recently. Just wondering if you had any tips for better commentary in video streams. I could probably do that after the segment if you're still around. You can ask me another question after the segment. It might be a while, but
are being repeated across the internet in videos with millions of collective views. They pervade the doxing threads, sprinkled between a sea of death threats, rape threats, and depictions of Illy committing suicide. These ideas are the reason they hate her, and all of them, every single one, was fabricated by Sean. How he did this is the topic of today's video, so
yeah, so this was like the whole post. It was like, however, so she was basically just saying like, hey, I'm trying to talk to a YouTube help desk person. to take the video down. But if not, if you come across this video, please report it for cyberbullying. Yeah, I think that she actually thinks it's cyberbullying, even though it's like it wasn't. His video wasn't cyberbullying. I don't know if I mean I guess I can understand why he would still. Well, he would understand why he would respond, but the disproportionate fucking reaction of trying to like fucking get this girl to like take her own life is insane.
Oh, let's check it out.
A based YouTuber.
All right, so the first one of these narratives that I want to look at today is the idea that Illy promotes obesity. One of the main concluding points of Sean's video is that Illy's advice is going to kill people by causing them to eat themselves into an early grave.
You know what's great about this advice? Because you conflated being overweight with extreme obesity, so you could say that both are healthy, what's going to happen is that people who watch this video that are 300 pounds are going to say, see, Alyssa is fine with being overweight, I don't have to change either. And then they'll eat themselves into an early grave.
Note that it's not just
hey, natural selection, am I right, baby?
Might happen. He said that it's going to happen. So it's sort of a direct...
Natural selection, baby. No, I'm just kidding. Like, yeah, she could have been like a little bit better with her communication about it, but overall, like I said, it was just like a fucking cartoon about her struggles with being overweight as a kid. So it's like, whatever. You know, it wasn't a fucking... you know, like a factual like piece necessarily. It was an anecdotal piece about how like she was happier when she took a little bit less of like weight stress off of her life.
Accusation there, just so we're clear about that. Now, that's a pretty serious accusation, right? So how does he justify it? Well, right before it, he presents what he calls Illy's final piece of advice and uses that as evidence to argue that she is promoting obesity.
All right, let's see Alyssa's final piece of advice.
A carrot isn't an inherent good food, while chocolate is an inherent bad food. Food is just food. No matter how many calories, carbs, sugars, you should feel free to eat whatever food you want to without beating yourself up about it.
I'm done.
Yeah, like I understand what she's saying. I do, because I'm a fat person, so like I get it. Like first and foremost, there are foods that are better than other foods. Like obviously you want to generally eat more like you know, nutrient dense foods and all that stuff. But sometimes like it's okay to have something without beating yourself up. Because I will say that like as a big person, like I've gotten into situations where I've been so obsessed with what I was eating exactly that I spiraled out of control. And like you get so anxious, you get so mentally worked up, you get so fucking distressed by your own, you know, food choices, I guess, that you burn yourself out mentally and then you just give up, right? And that's not something I think that she explicitly communicated, but I get it. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the things is I understand. I think that me and her have a more similar life experience. So I understand what he's saying, you know, and I'll say that like I've been losing weight since I reacted to the original video. I think I've lost like 10 pounds. I've lost more body fat than that, and I've gained more muscle than that. And I haven't really been watching what I'm eating too much, but I've been making like generally healthier choices, and I haven't been like worrying about it and stressing about it in such like a significant way where it's distressing me. So that's where I believe she's coming from. With that life experience. And if you don't really get it, I get it, but like you don't get it. You know what I mean? And again, she could have communicated that better, but I also think that like a lot of these nuances are lost that can be difficult to communicate sometimes, you know?
That was such terrible advice. I don't know how this video could be considered as anything other than enabling food addicts to not fix their health.
So Illy's quotes here that...
Yeah, and I understand why he thinks that too, because he doesn't get it, right? Oh, fuck my balls and my anus.
Food is just food, and you should eat whatever you want, were the most important pieces of evidence to Sean's conclusion. Accordingly, they were represented in a few other places. In the thumbnail of his video, for example, Illy is holding a sign that reads, "Eat what you want," to an audience of children, while her avatar holds a milkshake.
Oh my god, she's grooming the kids.
And is depicted as being unstable. These quotes seem to be the real sticking point for other creators that covered his video.
Food is just food.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Clearly, there's a couple of dumbass arguments that are open to be criticized.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Well, actually, all food is the same. No, you fucking idiot. Of course, all food's not the same.
Remember, she basically says there's no difference between eating a carrot and a cookie or whatever, pure gold. Did she actually say that? That's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect these guys to understand either. You know, I don't hate this guy. He's just a silly little goose. But as a fat dude who's obviously, you know, stronger than this fucking Dr. Seuss character. I'm just fucking around. No, but again, as a big person, like I understand what she was saying.
I mean, the fat acceptance stuff is just gone way too far, I think.
You give up on yourself.
Is that a based alert? I've never heard that before. Just fucking around. It has gone a little too far.
Your goals. And
but I like jerking off to it, so I'm kind of okay with that. I'm not gonna lie, brothers.
that food is food.
What you are proposing is very unhealthy and dangerous. What is your problem, you evil, life-destroying monster?
Oh my god, relax.
You just ruined a bunch of young people's, especially girls' lives.
Probably not. In all honesty, if there were a bunch of young girls watching, they probably listened to that and they had a sigh of relief. I don't think that that was the make or break for why young girls are fat as fuck. Well, okay, not like that, but that's not the make or break. Like Illy saying that isn't why I'm fat. right? It really wasn't like that bad. But okay.
So did she really say this? Is she really going to get people killed? Let's take a closer look at the evidence and
only if she doxes people
and find out. So one thing I noticed in Sean's video is that there's a funny cut when he shows this clip right after the.
My thing is did you really watch like a bunch of people's videos on this video to do research? That's fucking crazy. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what research is. Fuck me in my ass, right? I'm a lazy bitch. So.
Line, no matter how many calories, carbs, and sugars, the video skips just a bit. The s'more changes hands. The boy's blood sugar monitor.
Oh, you fucking! What are you doing?
That's what this is. It just sort of appears on the chair.
But that kid's skinny, so it's probably type 1 diabetes. So he probably needs to eat that.
It's a break in continuity. So I went back to Illy's actual video and see if you can spot what he decided to cut from this sequence.
No matter how many calories, carbs, sugars, whatever is in it. Unless you have life-threatening allergies or dietary restrictions to follow, you should feel free to eat whatever food you want to without beating yourself up about it.
So
that didn't change it too much. I don't think he didn't mention anybody that has like diabetes or allergies, so I don't think he really cut much out of that.
Immediately before she says that faded line, eat whatever you want, she added a caveat. She said, unless you have life-threatening allergies or dietary restrictions to follow. While this line is being delivered, you can also see on the screen that the boy, who has diabetes, is taking a reading of his blood sugar. And
I fucking hate pricking my finger to take my blood sugar. So it's just, it pisses me off, man.
And gets the green light, so he's good to go for having a s'more with his friends without throwing his blood sugar out of whack.
Again, this kid probably has type 1, so he probably needs to eat that fucking shit. You know what I'm saying?
This line, as well as the depiction on screen, is an acknowledgement that there are some exceptions to her statement, which would include, for example, a diabetic person's blood sugar imbalances, or most importantly for Sean's conclusion, the dietary restrictions recommended to morbidly obese people.
True. They tell you just stop being so fucking fat.
Just cut that line right out. And this is important, right? Because this line directly refutes Sean's narrative that Illy is promoting obesity. This phrase, dietary restrictions, rules out the more extreme situations that Sean is referring to when he says that
that's actually very true. That's true.
This will cause viewers to eat themselves into an early grave. There's another equally important misrepresentation of what Illy says here, which has to do with context and framing. If you notice, Sean introduces the clip from Illy's video by calling it her advice.
Let's see Alyssa's final piece of advice.
Now, what does he mean by advice? Just general advice or something more specific?
I would just like some advice. Hey, here's my advice, guys. Don't goon too close to the sun. You know what I mean?
Well, seeing as his conclusion from this advice is that Illy might kill fat people by enabling them.
Kind of. Is that kind of base though, or what, guys? You know what I'm saying?
To overeat. It's safe.
I'm just kidding.
To assume, I think, that when he says advice, what he actually means is nutritional advice. You know, advice for dieting and weight loss. That's what the conclusion implies. And
maybe that's an interesting point. I understand what he's getting at. That he's trying to make it seem like, hey, this is nutritional advice, when her advice is more like emotional advice, if that makes sense. Maybe that okay.
So when these lines, food is just food, and carrots aren't good, and chocolate isn't bad, are being presented as dieting advice.
Carrots make me. I literally almost choke on every fucking time I eat a carrot. Like it's just the carrot. I try not to eat carrots because of that. You know.
And yeah, you already know people were going to have something to say about that, and say about that they did.
S'mores are a diet food. Got it.
So 27 bars of chocolate is equal to a meal of broccoli, grilled tomato, mashed potatoes, and chicken.
Exactly. That's exactly what she was saying.
Nice to know.
I have diabetes type 3.
Incredible.
Time to eat 4 trillion Oreos.
It's really funny, that last one, given that Illy specifically accounted for diabetic people, but Sean just didn't show it, so then there was a bunch of comments about diabetes.
I'm gonna be honest with you, nobody watches these videos anyway. They just listen to them.
He's really, really good. The other alleged creators covering this video did the same thing.
Carrots are definitely healthier for you than a chocolate bar, so telling kids something otherwise is actually harmful.
What has more calories, 1 pound of broccoli or half a cup of olive oil?
I don't think I'm going to be able to eat a pound of broccoli, man. That's crazy.
Half a cup of olive.
Did one of your professional doctors tell you this? Was the nutritionist the one that told you that carrots and chocolates are the same? I can't believe a full-grown adult actually believes this dumb shit. Here's a fact.
That guy sounds familiar. Who's this guy?
Chocolate is high in sugar and saturated fat.
It sounds like Mudahar, but autistic. But not in a bad way, by the way. It's a beautiful thing, brother. I love people with autism, brothers. Sketch is my favorite content creator. Why does that guy sound familiar?
Yeah, they just go on like that for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, it's a bunch of... Listen, here's my thing. It's a bunch of young men that are a little sheltered. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. And I don't think that they understand. Like, again, they don't understand, like, growing up like a chunkster. So I kind of get it. I mean, I understand where she's coming from with that.
They sound like they're having a blast, honestly. There must be a floor to critical thinking that when you blow past it, everything just starts feeling like pure euphoria. This response here from both audiences and creators relies on Sean's framing of Illy's words, that they were intended as dieting advice. But the thing is, they weren't. Illy's video has some fairly...
you know, in Think Before You Sleep's defense, I think if they watched her video without him, they'd come to the same conclusion, to be honest with you. So...
straightforward themes. She talks about dealing with negative body image, about getting bullied, starting unhealthy eating habits, and frustrations over weight loss. Her video is a direct critique of diet culture and its morality-based food logic.
Diet culture is an entire belief system that associates food with morality and thinness with goodness.
She relates her own experiences to the common occurrence of teenagers dieting, despite already being at a healthy weight. Immediately before the—
Yeah, that was very clear. She wasn't at like an unhealthy weight. She wasn't at like the kind of weight that is bad for like a young person. She was at the kind of weight where it's like, oh, a growth spurt will take that away. It's not a huge deal. And again, like diet culture, I was part of that, man. Like I said, I was drinking Diet Cokes for lunch. It did not help me lose weight. I ended up binging later because of it. So like I understood what she was saying. And that, again, like that's where life experience comes in. And if you don't have a you know, as her content is for her audience. I know, hot take, right? But her content is for her audience. And so, you know, she's not exactly the best at communicating to not her audience, which is like, okay, you don't have to be. And that's where the confusion comes in, right? And I don't think that, you know, not her audience understood that particularly well.
The good and bad foods clip, Illy introduces a concept called body neutrality, which advocates for removing the moral element from how we view our bodies. She then states that she is about to apply that concept to food. So given the actual content of her video, and the direct link she'd just drawn from moral neutrality to food, when she finally actually says these lines, her intent could not be more clear. She's talking about morality. She's saying that eating carrots doesn't make you a good person, just like eating chocolate doesn't make you—
True, somebody who ate carrots fucked my mom. It's pretty fucked up. Piece of shit.
A bad person. By presenting only the tail end of this sequence—
And if anyone's gonna fuck my mom, it's okay. It's gonna be me, but on accident, guys. Okay, because one time somebody put me in one of those scenarios where it's like, would you rather you're sandwiched between your mom and your dad? Would you rather like move back and have your dad's wiener going you more, or move forward? So that's what I'm referring to.
And neglecting to accurately portray the central themes of her entire video, Sean has removed it from all context. The result is that he's framed her as both an idiot that can't do basic math about calories—
Yeah, again, just to be clear, I don't think that Sean, we're calling him now, I don't think he did this intentionally or maliciously. I think that that's just his legitimate interpretation of the video. I don't think that like Sean sat here and it's like, I know that she doesn't have like a bit, you know, I don't think she was like, oh, I know what she's saying, but I'm going to take her out of context. I don't think that that's what happened there. I think that you know, and I just want to be very clear. I don't think that he made his video to be malicious or anything, as Noah's video kind of claims. So,
and more seriously,
why commit to the bit, dude? Because you know what? Fuck you. That's why. Because it's my goddamn. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, bro. Because I felt like it. You know what I mean? You gotta commit to it sometimes, man. You gotta commit to it.
A dangerous person whose dieting advice will end up with people dead. Along with Sean's conclusion that Illy's advice is going to kill people, he also claims that because of this sequence, the message of her video is that she endorses drug abuse.
Stop writing
holy moly
criticism off as malicious concern trolling when the ending message of your video was effectively—
So just—
if you can't stop doing drugs, then drugs aren't bad, and you should take whatever drugs you want and as many drugs as you want.
So just to be clear, I think, and I could be wrong, that was in response to, she might have said, I don't remember, to the concept people will pretend, and I could be completely off here, but people will typically, or there's a lot of people online who don't like fat people because they think they're disgusting, which by the way, I do kind of get it. I watch my 600-pound life. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at a 600-pound person, I'm like, damn, that's gross. But I try not to let that invade the real world, you know? But there's a lot of people who think fat people are very disgusting, and they go online and they pretend that like, oh, I'm just saying this because I want you to lose weight and be healthy. They don't. It's concern trolling. I believe that was what that was in reference to. I could be wrong. You know, but
this was yet another inflammatory statement that was mainlined into the beautiful working brains of the people harassing her.
Why did you just sell me drugs?
Next video.
Boost.
The perks of popping pills.
Should I be celebrated for my lifestyle choices? Gather round and cheer me on.
That's the interesting thing about like being a big fat fucker. It's interesting. I think like food is the only addiction that I'm aware of that you need to survive, except for some good pussy. Am I right, guys? So it's a unique issue, I would say, out of a lot of other addictions that you have out there. Because I think it's like a legitimate addiction, and like binge eating disorders and stuff. Like those are some real things, man. They're tough to deal with, you know. And I feel like a lot of them, I don't have a statistic, but a lot of them would probably manifest from like toxic diet culture that gives you the wrong ideas of like how you're supposed to eat. And then you have bad eating habits, and then you end up binge eating because your habits are bad and you get home from school after just having a fucking Diet Coke.
I drink heavily 5 days a week. I'm an alcoholic. Accept me.
Here's a comment saying she compared coffee with fentanyl. And then
hey, based.
Here's another comment saying that she actually said that. The severity of these accusations is then compounded by his immediate reminder to viewers that her audience is probably full of children.
Keep in mind that Alyssa's videos are clearly targeted at children based on the style of animation and the references and...
Yeah, I don't think that that's true. I think her audience is probably like her age, not targeted at children. Adults like weird, like cartoon animated style stuff too, just to be clear. That's why like every single kid's show, it appeals to adults as well. We already know that.
Joke she makes.
The implication here is that Illy's video may end up directly harming or possibly killing children.
Good. No, just kidding.
If we hold him to all the assertions he's made here, that's what the video is telling us. And then we remember his inclusion of children in the thumbnail and his later speculations about her child audience.
Considering that in this post you stated that your market is children, do you really think this is being a good role model?
And the results are that his viewers have heard his message loud and clear.
Right. She's hurting kids.
She should not be telling children that it's okay to be unhealthy. 4,000 likes. Illy, you're feeding 14-year-old insecure children lies about health. As a soon-to-be doctor, yeah.
A soon-to-be doctor. Incredible.
I'm sure that's true. As a soon-to-be doctor, you are making everything worse for the next generation. Little content warning here for some bad stuff. I hate this lying Jewish blank with all—
What the fuck? What the fuck? Bro, anti-Semitism is so funny to me because today I was reading some YouTube comments and some people, like I'll occasionally tell people that I am Jewish. And people are like, oh, that makes sense now. It's in that one Synthetic Man video where he differentiates white people and Jews. Like that's anti-Semitic. Like it's intentional. White. Like I'm the fucking whitest person that you know. Right? We have Italians are white, Irish are white, English people, blah 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 blah. There's so many different whites. So are Jewish people. Ethnically Jewish people are white. You know, there are even Hispanic people who are fucking white, right? But they get so fucking insane about it. It's actually like weird and funny. And I wonder how though that they contest with the fact that I'm also like German. You know, doesn't that cancel each other out? Kind of defeats the other side. You know what I'm saying? So how do you deal with that? Anti-Semites. I've cleansed myself.
Art. She needs to die. The new video she made is promoting childhood obesity. She is a cancer to this world and needs to be rotting 6 feet.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Under the ground. This comment is from the doxing thread. They stated they were going to visit her in California. They said they wanted her dead, and at that point, they knew where she lived. Thankfully, Illy—
That's fucking wild. I didn't know it was this bad. This is actually horrific, man. If I was Think Before You Sleep, I would feel bad about this. I died. I would feel bad about that. That's crazy, brother. Like it doesn't matter what moral or legal obligation I have to not harass people. If I had people like that in my audience bullying somebody relentlessly to that point, like I would feel terrible. And you know, in the guy's defense, he may not, he might be jaded and be like, oh yeah, I get hate stuff all the time. Who cares? Right, because he goes back and forth with Noah, who probably has a toxic audience too. Clearly, if they mass report his video, but not everybody's like you, man. Like I mean, I get it. That's really distressing to people. That's a lot. That's brutal. That's absolutely brutal.
Lee was able to move before anything violent happened, but if this person, for example, had taken action, Sean's video very well could have been what pushed them over the edge. Before we move on to the next section, I just want to play the part of Illy's video that comes right after the sequence we just watched, but that Sean decided to just leave out.
Oh great, now she's glorifying obesity. I'm not glorifying anything. My point is simple. Don't be a to fat people. And don't use,
I disagree. No,
just care about their health as an excuse.
Right, that's what I was referring to. Yes, she's right. People will bully fat people, and then they will pretend that they care about their health. You don't care about my health as a fat person if you're like, you want to bully me, right? And it's fine if you, like, here's my thing, because, I don't care, bully me, but don't lie. Oh, I'm just worried about your health. No, you're not. Just tell me the truth. Just be like, yeah, you fat fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I hate you. I look at you and I'm sickened by it. All right, fair enough, brother. I appreciate the honesty. Okay. But when you're saying like, oh, I'm just saying this because I care. No, you don't. You don't care. If you cared, you would be more understanding and empathetic about the solution, and you would be like more intelligent about it. Because there's a lot of people who've never really been fat that criticize fat people, and they're like, I'm trying to help you. No, you don't know what it means to help somebody because you've never gone through the experience. Like, if you're eating to the point where you're this size, like, have a serious fucking problem. It's not as like for saying something like, you shouldn't eat that much. Like, I never thought of that, brother. It's obviously not going to be enough. And like I said, I'm getting healthier. But it's like, if you actually cared, you would sit down and go like, okay, like, where is this problem rooted in? It's like a level of some kind of an addiction. Now if you're a fat person and says, oh, I'm addicted, I can't change, that's bad. Like, you're just using it as an excuse. But for me, it's been like helpful to be like, yeah, you know what? I have a little bit of an issue with my consumption. I have a problem. And it's been productive for me to acknowledge that in a healthy way. So
being fat doesn't automatically mean someone is less healthy or too lazy to look like you or however you think they should look. You don't.
Maybe not. Depends. It depends on how fat you are. Again, she's not really that overweight, so I think that's where she's coming from. But generally, like, being a little less chunky, probably a little more healthy. But yeah, I mean, you really don't know. You don't necessarily know. Like, if you saw me scarfing down a hot dog, a pizza, and a chicken bake at Costco today, you're like, wow, dude, you just put away like 2,300 calories. What the fuck? That's disgusting. You're so unhealthy. Yes, but I'm healthier than I was 2 months ago when I wasn't eating like this because I've been working out more, okay? I just wanted to have a little treat, okay? You know what I mean? So you don't necessarily always know what people are going through.
I don't know these people.
Those are the devil's advocate characters there, advocating for the thing Sean believes and says. It's an interesting little detail. All right, so before we continue, I need to pause real quick to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Brown News. So
Brown News? What is that, poop news?
Critical thinking is important. One aspect
sorry.
of being a critical thinking enjoyer is being willing to engage with the actual source material of whatever you're learning about. With any story, Ground News will give you a statistical breakdown of how many sources are covering it, where those sources land politically, and the percentage distribution of that bias. With each source and story, you're given information of the political bias as well as ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations.
You guys know the rules. Like, we gotta watch the whole ad because we're reacting to someone else's video, okay?
Ground News also allows you to compare the headlines from each source that covers the same stories. As far as the news goes, the majority of people don't actually read past headlines, so this feature is super helpful given how heavily slanted this can make them. Go to
Are you making fun of Asians?
ground.news/Noah to see through misleading media narratives. Subscribe for 40% off their unlimited access Vantage plan and enjoy that. With my link, Ground News Vantage plan comes out at just $5 a month, which costs less than many of today's cups of coffee in this world. All right, now let's get back to the video.
Yeah, guys, boycott Starbucks and look at Ground News.
Okay, so the second idea that Sean fabricates in his videos is that Illy tried to deplatform him.
Deplatform me to try and get me deplatform a smaller creator.
This idea drove the second, more serious wave of harassment, which is what led to Illy's doxing. It was also—
Well, again, she did call for her people to report it for cyberbullying, just to be clear. So I don't think that she did it maliciously. I think that she like legitimately looked at that video and thought it was like cyberbullying. I'm going to give her that obviously that benefit of the doubt there. She could have acted better. But yeah, so I can understand why he got a little worked up, especially since that's his money, baby, So
another one of the explicitly cited motivations of the doxers. Other creators covering the story were very vocally opposed to this idea.
They tried to deplatform. Think before you sleep.
Getting deplatformed when you're an influencer is essentially like being fired.
I am never for deplatforming.
People sometimes just don't get it and they want to deplatform people no matter what.
Don't send hate to him, by the way. Just make sure you harass and deplatform him. 14,000 likes. Just take away his income by
Well, she didn't say harass him. She didn't want
completely taking away his channel. 2,000 likes. Is this the channel that's trying to get other channels deplatformed? 5.7 thousand likes. So is this what actually happened? Well,
here's what I honestly think. I think that his video, like again, it's the audience very poorly represents Think Before You Sleep. They're extraordinarily toxic, and he does nothing to at least try to curb that. And that upset her because her audience is not that toxic. And then she called for something to have, for them to YouTube take it down because she thought it was cyberbullying. And I understand that. And she had a very human experience. And what happened is people, like most criticism, it's a really good story to be disproportionate. Oh, they're trying to deplatform Think Before You Sleep. Like, this is unacceptable. This is that. It's like, okay, again, like he has a valid claim, but like most criticism on the internet, it gets very disproportionate. She's somebody that was introduced to an extraordinarily toxic audience of Think Before You Sleep. I don't think that he's necessarily extraordinarily toxic, but and she was having trouble dealing with that. And like people, it's like, yes, yeah, here's a story. Like it's a, So I think that was a big part of it, to be honest with you. But But
Oh, why don't we take a look at the evidence? As I mentioned in the intro, there's only one piece of evidence that Sean has presented for every accusation he's made here, and that's Illy's Tumblr post. Specifically, its last line, which reads, "If you or anyone else comes across this video, please report it for cyberbullying." Now, viewers that are paying attention right now may notice that this post doesn't say anything.
That's true too, but getting one video down isn't the same as deplatforming. That's true.
About deplatforming. This post asks her followers to report the video. Reporting and deplatforming are not the same thing. Just because a report can lead to a deplatforming.
Yeah, she was told she didn't watch the video either. Yeah, that's true.
Does not make these terms interchangeable. To understand why that is, let's take a minute to walk through how the deplatforming process actually works. This part will be a bit dry, so I'll throw some visuals up on the screen now to keep things interesting for you guys. Enjoy. In order for a YouTube channel to be terminated, it has to receive 3 channel strikes. Channel strikes are usually issued when a video is reported, that report is reviewed, and the reviewers determine that the video has violated the YouTube community guidelines.
Yeah, and now with the way that they differentiate things, you could take a test and the guideline violation goes away in 3 months, I think it is. If you get it. So like if I get taken down for like racism or something, you know, and it's my first strike, it just becomes a warning. I can put in a, I can actually, if my appeal gets rejected or whatever, I can actually I can take a test and it'll be like, okay, in 3 months, I think it's 3 months. In 3 months, it'll go, the strike will go away. The warning will go away. If I get hit with another strike, but it's like sexuality or something, that's considered a different type of strike. So I can take another test for that one. So I can theoretically have like 3 different strikes going at the same time that are going through the process of like not being a strike, right? Like they're going through like that 3-month process of falling off. If I get another hit for the same thing, then that one, like I think I could take a test still for it, but like that one's not going away for a while. Right. So, that's kind of how it works. It's better than it used to be. It used to be you do one thing wrong, you get a warning, a permanent warning, and then you rack them up and they fall off after a certain amount of time. But now you can kind of put in like a little slip. It's interesting.
I say usually because there's quite a few other things that can happen. If, for example, it's your channel's first time violating the guidelines, you'll most likely get let off with a warning. This warning can be dismissed after 90 days by taking a policy training. If a warning is issued, it can be appealed. An appeal is when you argue your case that the video has been flagged by mistake. If the appeal is granted, then the warning is removed and your eligibility for receiving a warning on your next violation will be reset. Sean has alluded to
it's a YouTube sensitivity course. I probably could have communicated that better.
Having his finger on the pulse of YouTube's community guidelines.
Speaking of YouTube rules, and as someone who regularly reads them,
so I wouldn't be surprised if he had a clean record.
Reading is kind of gay. I'm going to be real with it.
And a warning available to him. I haven't seen him state otherwise. However, if he has violated the guidelines before, then receiving a guilty report would remove his video and give his channel a strike. There's a few other things to go over here, though. Just like the warnings, channel strikes can also be appealed. Were he to receive a strike, Sean would again have the opportunity to argue his case for why he thinks the reviewers got it wrong.
Yeah, and you got to do it on Twitter, bro, because they don't do a goddamn fucking thing on YouTube. Their service sucks. But if you talk to YouTube through Twitter, they're much better about it. It's so weird.
If the appeal he submitted were to be granted, his video would go back up and the strike would be removed from his channel. The important thing here, though, is that even if he had been issued a warning, appealed the warning, lost the appeal, then received a strike, then appealed that strike and lost that appeal, finally actually getting a strike, that's still not deplatforming. That's step 1 to deplatforming. As I said before, deplatforming requires 3 channel strikes. What I neglected to mention, though, is that these strikes expire after 90 days. And
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, again, like that's the sensationalization of it. It's like, oh, they're trying to deplatform such and such. Deplatform. It's not just like, hey, you know, they're trying to get my video taken down. It is like they're trying to deplatform me. Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, there's reasonable criticisms on the internet, but most of the time, all of them become disproportionate regardless.
And in order to actually have your channel terminated, you need to get all 3 of them within that same 90-day period. This means that Sean would have to go through this whole process 3 separate times in a period of 3 months or less. This is what YouTube officials refer to as being a very naughty boy. The only possible way he could call Illy's post an attempted deplatforming in good faith is if all those prerequisites had been met. Since there's no evidence that even a single one of them has, Sean calling Illy's report an attempted deplatforming is at best a very uninformed interpretation of the situation, and at worst, dishonest. Either way, it's a crybaby Olympics gold medal winning complaint. Even if her report had resulted in—
Damn, I'm not gonna lie, man. So far, Noah's kind of cooking. Noah's kind of cooking this guy. I'm not the biggest Noah fan, okay? You guys know. That wasn't funny, Papa guy. But you guys know, you know what I mean? I'm not the hugest Noah fan. I think sometimes he's a little annoying. But he's kind of cooking here, man. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I think Before He Sleeps annoying as fuck too. I think a lot of creators are very annoying, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people are just super fucking annoying. I'm sure people think the same about me, and that's fine. But like, I have like, especially content creators are fucking annoying, and I know I'm one, so you probably think I'm annoying too, and that's fine. but I find them so fucking annoying, especially. Like I'd say I'm friends with like Vince Vintage, Dan Tavius, Gunner TV. We chat, you know, shit like that. But commentary YouTubers, fuck. I don't know if I'm just as annoying as them, too. Maybe that's part of it, you know, or maybe I'm a little better. I don't think I'm much. I don't know. I think I'm a little calmer. I don't know, but maybe I just think, you know, we're all so goddamn annoying. I can't be friends with these people. They're too much like me, you know. It's like I don't know, man. It's just something weird about it, bro. You know, I don't hate them or anything. I don't hate people. You know, I enjoy some other people too. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me.
Sean's channel being terminated. That still doesn't make her report an attempted deplatforming. There's a few reasons for that, and I want to go over them now. I know this is a blast going over the rules. We're having fun, but try to contain your excitement because this information is very serious and very important, I think. Learning time.
Oh yeah, I guess Gunner is commentary, but no, he's a cool guy. We chat every once in a while. We give each other a little advice. He keeps telling me to make better thumbnails, so you know, I know he means well, but it's just like I don't know, man. That's gay. No, I'm just kidding.
So one of the other claims being made to justify this deplatforming accusation is that Illy asked Sean's channel to be mass flagged. She asked her millions of followers to report the video, and this is an especially serious threat to Sean's livelihood.
Told people in her massive 2.5 million person following, my channel is on the line because Alyssa has millions of followers.
But this too is false. In terms of YouTube's review process, mass flagging doesn't actually do anything. The amount of flags that a video receives has no bearing on the reviewer's decisions. Here is YouTube's global head of...
Well, I imagine it has some kind of a bearing on like an automated response, right? That's probably true. I can imagine.
Trust and safety. Matt Halprin explaining that.
It doesn't matter whether there's one flag, 1,000 flags, 10,000 flags. It literally makes no difference into how the evaluation works, whether content should stay up or stay down.
Here's this guy.
That part I believe, but I imagine the more flags a video gets, the higher chance it is that the video will be within like proximity of getting taken down. Does that make sense? Like if YouTube gets one flag on my videos, I doubt they do anything. But if they get like 100, they're probably like, okay, let's do something about it. And there's probably like a flag ratio where they're like, yeah, it's gonna be taken down automatically, and then we'll kind of go from there, right, as like a safety precaution. So, but I could be wrong.
From YouTube's Creator Insider channel saying the same thing.
Sometimes a video with lots of flags is a result of what the team calls brigading, meaning a large group of people have tried to gang up on the video in an attempt to take it down, even though it doesn't violate a policy. Can they take it down? No. Again, all videos are evaluated under the same policies, no matter how many flags they have.
This term, mass flagging, makes it sound like really scary, mass flagging. Oh, it's a massive, huge flag, but it's not. It doesn't affect the review decision. The other point here, though, on mass flagging is that even if it did affect the review system, it wouldn't...
Yeah, one flag versus 10,000 is going to make a difference. Yeah, what they're saying, which they're not being inaccurate. They're saying that like more flags doesn't change the mind of the individual who's reviewing. Again, though, YouTube's review process is dog shit inside of YouTube. I think only like one time did they ever overturn like a bad decision that they made on a call. On like a community guidelines violation on my video, but like 2 or 3 times I went to Twitter and they overturned it on Twitter. So just to be clear, like, you kind of, it's so weird, but you got to go to Twitter if you're having a problem.
Actually matter in this case because this wasn't mass flagging. The figure being thrown around, her 2.5 million subscribers, it's false. It's literally not true. Illy made this post on Tumblr. At the time of posting, her Tumblr account had 2,400 followers. She didn't post about it anywhere on YouTube. This number, 2,400, is less than 0.1% of her YouTube subscribers. Sean must have known this too because...
Oh, that's actually a good point. She didn't say it on her YouTube, did she? So then it wasn't even like her weaponizing or using like her entire audience to do something. It was more like, again, it wasn't the perfect way to react, but I think I understand the human emotion of the way that she reacted. I think that she got upset and she was getting bullied because the guy's audience is toxic as fuck,
I mean, firstly, even though Tumblr doesn't display followers publicly, followers never transfer evenly between platforms. But mainly because in the screenshot he shows in his video, Illy's post had 97 notes. 97. That's 0.01%.
I don't even know what a note is, brother.
Of this supposed...
Is that like a comment?
Army of 2.5 million woke orcs, warks, that actually even interacted with what she said. The sheer scale at which this number has...
Well, I mean, it's possible to think before you sleep, realize that, and you decide to be like an asshole about it. Or it's possible that, like, again, like, it might be also like, hey, I'm a little bit of a victim, guys, playing victim a little bit. Maybe he even feels that way. Maybe he got that worked up too,
has been exaggerated here is just, it's awe-inspiring. It also makes his repeated whinging about a larger channel bullying him just kind of funny to watch.
Obviously, she doesn't care about bullying because she'll openly call her followers to harass a much smaller creator that has 1/3 of her following. By trying to deplatform a smaller creator,
he's maxing out his Amex Platinum victim card. He's pulling up to the Oppression Olympics in a Michael Phelps morph suit. We can see you, man. It's not subtle. The third and final element to this deplatforming accusation is the implication that Illy was false flagging.
By rallying her audience to falsely flag Think Before You Sleep's video.
Is this guy a real person that talks?
Send your fans and friends to false flag another individual.
She was false flagging his channel, being malicious. And trying to get the video taken down for
just so like the malicious argument, I just will disagree. Again, I don't think it deserved to be taken down. You know, his videos were shitty, but malicious. I just, that part is interesting to me. It's like it's very interesting that a lot of times on the internet, people will assume the worst intentions. This Illymation girl just seems like a normal person on the internet. I know that sounds fucking crazy, doesn't it? But she just seems like a normal person on the internet, and she was getting bullied, and it was upsetting her. And like again, the comments were so toxic that I think that she interpreted it worse than it really was, which makes sense. It's like, you know, he made his video, and then his commenters are being psychopaths on her video, and he did nothing to try to stop it. I'm not saying that he would have always been perfect. I'm just saying it would have been nice to try to stop it.
Whatever you
try to say something. I've never seen any of his videos that go out being like, hey guys, some of you guys can be a little toxic. I know it's not most of you, but like, please don't bully people that I make content on because it's really shitty, you know. And I think that you know, morally at the very least, you should want to do something like that. You should want to have a better audience.
People make fun of the leafy style gaming background footage, but I like it, to be honest. I think
it's you.
Fans and friends
flagging.
By rallying her audience to falsely flag.
This guy? That's not you, Brion. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Before You Sleep's video.
Send your fans and friends to...
Is this you? Let's see, where are you at, Brion? Where are you at, brother? Let's see where... Let me see your shit. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. My buddy Brion. What do you got here? Where's the Illymation video? Here.
Who have been keeping up with...
Let's see. Who are you? What's your avatar, bro? What's your avatar? What's your avatar, dude? I can't see it. I'm not seeing your avatar in here. All right.
False flag another individual.
She was false flagging his channel, being malicious.
Oh, this is your... Oh, you were the one to say... Yeah, I don't think it's malicious. Yeah, that's you. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't think it's malicious.
Trying to get the video taken down for whatever you can.
People make fun of the leafy style gaming background footage, but I like it, to be honest.
Same. I like it when I play the game while I do the commentary. And then, dude, can you fucking kill this goddamn roly-poly bitch that has no health left? That'll give me a lot of XP. Are you kidding?
I think it's fun. A lot of shapes and colors and bright lights on the screen. It's engaging. All right, so Illy was asking people to report his video while knowing that it wasn't reportable. That's the claim. Now, let's first establish that there's no actual evidence for this argument. All of Illy's posts pretty clearly indicate that her intent in flagging the video was to stop the harassment it was and still is causing. None of these posts show her to be knowingly asking for a false flag. Regardless, though, let's tame this argument. Two points are being raised for this claim. Number one, Sean's video wasn't actually cyberbullying, so reporting it is malicious.
I know that my video
yeah, it's not cyberbullying, but it doesn't mean like, yeah, but doesn't make her malicious. It's just like a matter of interpretation. I don't think it's unreasonable. Like if you put anybody in like an atmosphere where they're getting relentlessly, you know, harassed over some, you know, take that they had that didn't deserve it, obviously they're going to be upset, and you know, if they're going to feel like they're getting bullied, then it's understandable.
Doesn't break any of them.
Hey, thank you so much, Buckovin, for this medium god, brother. You can't do commentary and games at the same time. I feel like I have to, man. I get so fucking weird. It's my tism. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have autism. No, I just I think it's just, I don't know, it kind of like helps me focus a little bit. Maybe it's my ADHD. Okay, I really need to get out of here.
In the hate speech policy or the harassment and cyberbullying policy.
The video you're trying to flag does not qualify as harassment.
In no way is the video cyberbullying.
So firstly, whether or not Sean's video actually broke the rules is not your call. It's not my call. It's not your mom's call.
No, it's not. But I think it's we can all understand that it wasn't violating the rules. Just to be clear.
You should call
Brion Puppy good job. That's funny.
Your mom, though. It's YouTube's call. YouTube's reviewers decide that. Their opinion is the only opinion that actually matters. And if what you're saying is true, then why are we whining about it? John has nothing to worry about. The review will come up negative. If it doesn't, then he can appeal. And if he didn't break the rules, then he'll win that appeal. A review coming up negative doesn't...
I mean, that is true. That part is true. So, you know, again, he has to go on Twitter and
prove ill intent. If that were the case, then every negative review ever made would be a false flag. And that's silly, you know, these things happen all the time. Despite its silliness though, that didn't stop some of these guys from essentially making this same claim.
Do you know what's actually in violation of YouTube's bullying and harassment rules?
Jerking off on stream.
This Tumblr post.
What she's doing with this post right here does actually break YouTube's terms of service.
Interestingly, Sean doesn't cite the rule that she allegedly broke here, which is why no one else cited it either. They get all of their information.
Well, I think it is true. I don't think that, I mean, I think it is true that like false flagging somebody is a violation. But yeah, again, I don't think that she would get hit with anything because she's not doing it maliciously.
From each other's videos and nothing more. Drama YouTube is an epistemological human centipede. I can't find the rule.
It kind of is true. It is interesting because I know I have similar commentary to a lot of other people. I'm sure at least. But I feel like there are people who will, listen, man, I know that there are spheres on everywhere where somebody will watch a take that's considered acceptable in their community and they will regurgitate that take whether they agree with it or not because they know that it's going to, people are going to be like, oh yeah, I like that. You know, I don't do that. I could say that confidently. You know, I won't watch anybody else's take before I do my own. And also I don't really care if my audience disagrees with me. They get upset with me all the time. I will listen to feedback, you know, and sometimes I'll be like, okay, that's interesting. I will listen to feedback, but overall, I don't do that. But there are people who do that, and it does become like it kind of does become a form of a human centipede scenario. That part is true, you know. So
that Sean is referring to here. So let us know when you respond. In the meantime, though, what I have is this screenshot from YouTube support telling Illy that it's okay for her to submit the report, even if she's not 100% positive that it applies.
Oh, okay. What did she send it to you? You can also directly contact the legal team. Okay, will I get in trouble if I submit a privacy report and the team doesn't think it's a problem? You can see the full details, blah, blah, blah. You won't. You can also send the email. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. Am I an idiot or something, or just don't remember? But who's Junko? I have no idea.
That's an important note here, I guess, is that YouTube literally gave her the green light to do this. Probably could have mentioned that sooner, but there we go. Surprise. Enjoy. So now we're down to just the final argument, which is that Illy's report was false flagging because she didn't even watch the video before reporting it. She went solely off of her friend's biased summary, and that's a false flag because she didn't even know what he said.
Make sure to not watch it before doing that, by the way.
But like, I also understand that, you know, I understand because, I don't know, it's like a shitty video. She's getting shitty comments, so it's not unrealistic for her to be like, oh, this is probably a really shitty video. You know what I mean? Why would she want to like sit there and watch the video, you know? If it's not like she's responding to the drama in this meaningful way where she's like a drama YouTuber that does stuff like back and forth. Like, oh, she's not part of the commentary like drama game. So I can understand why she's like, oh, this is like upset. But again, if your fucking comments or commenters are being so toxic and rude, like you need to expect people are going to have like an adverse reaction to being reacted to. Like, you guys really should not want that to happen. I mean, I disagree with people all the time. Like, and I mean, again, I don't have as big of a platform. I understand that, but I don't seem to have this problem with, you know, my audience rampantly bullying people. So I would just consider why that's happening, brothers, you know?
And report his video that I didn't even watch up to that point.
She hasn't even watched.
And she didn't even watch the video, and she even said this herself.
This last argument is purely a moral one, right? Because it has no grounds within the guidelines. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't report a video based on a rundown from a trusted source. They don't make you plug in an eye tracker and play the full thing before you click flag. The moral claim—
Hope not, because then I'd be staring at whatever titties are in the video and I get in trouble.
Here is that you should hear out the criticism. It's the right thing to do. Until you do, you have no idea what he's saying, whether or not it's actually bullying, and who knows? Maybe he has a point. Maybe it's worth listening to. Since this is a strictly moral question, there's no real objective way to answer it, so I'll just give my opinion. No. Illy didn't ask for this criticism. His video was totally unsolicited. That doesn't mean I think Sean shouldn't be allowed to make his video, but I also don't think that Illy should be expected to sit through it either, especially given the immediate abundance of evidence that the video inspired a harassment campaign. Doesn't strike me as some giant leap in logic for her to assume that it may have been made in bad faith. Like, imagine one of your friends comes to you and says, hey,
Shit, that'd be so weird, bro. Especially if we're looking at each other.
Random 850,000 subscriber YouTube channel made a weird, dishonest, and unnecessarily mean video about you. And that's when you notice the hundreds of comments harassing you for things your friend mentioned being in the video. If you were to then say, yeah, I'm good on that, not worth sitting through that probably, that seems like a pretty normal thing to do. Don't mistake my argument here as me saying people should just start flagging videos for no reason just because they don't like someone. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what Illy did. My point here is simply that the circumstances of this situation, to me, seem clearly within the bounds of a reasonable response. A practical solution to a a pressing problem. And maybe that's not enough for you. Maybe you really do think that she should have watched it. I have seen it suggested by some creators that
I don't really care. It's not like she responded to it in a commentary video. She just didn't watch it. I don't give a shit.
in this situation and situations like these, creators only have two options.
You're gonna make a hate video about me? Shit, brother. Nobody's made a hate video about me in a while. Let's go for it.
Either A, make a response video to the response video towards your original video, or B, ignore it and move on.
Who cares if people are mean to you online? Just ignore it. Or respond to it, make content out of it, you know?
Sean
Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, it seems like some of these people get hit like incredibly hard with like fucking, you know, doxing threats and shit. I don't think I've ever had like that much like doxing threats and everything. That's fucking unhinged, man. I would be terrified too if I was her.
Seemed particularly enthusiastic on this point.
If you simply did nothing, Alyssa, you had about 4 more days before everyone forgot about you. If you want this to go away, then stop trying to get my video and my channel taken down, and really put a lot of her time and energy into trying to get me deplatformed, when really, she should
She didn't really put that much time and energy into it. She said one thing.
Be busy enjoying her vacation in Japan. Everyone moves on with their life after about a week or 2. Except Alyssa.
So setting aside the clearly intimidating language here, I'm gonna be honest, guys, I think you all need to take a second, unplug the surge protector at your feet, and step outside of debate lord land into human land.
He's kind of right, yeah. That is a very terminally online take, I will say. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? I need all fuck... Oh my god, I had an acid weapon. I just passed over it. It is a little bit of a terminally online take of like, hey, who really cares? I tend to agree with it if you're in like the commentary space. But like, yeah, it's, you know, for somebody who just makes animations talking about her life and everything, you can't expect her to be jaded by incredibly toxic bullying comments to the point where she's like, yeah, just get over it. You know, it can be distressing, and sometimes people go even harder. Especially now, everybody is going like psychotic over like wokeness. So I could see why his fucking, you know, a little bit insane conspiracy audience would be a little, you know, worked up. I have seen him say some weird... sometimes he gets a little kooky, so he might draw some kooky people. So yeah, I agree with that.
I spoke with some other YouTubers that Sean has made these sorts of unsolicited response videos about, and to this question of why not hear him out and respond, they all said basically the same thing, which was, why the hell would I do that? This is Nicole Raffi. Sean made a video about her called Feminism is Brainwashing Women to Like Feminine Men.
Ooh, based. Yeah, there's probably no like constructive or productive reason to like respond to him and get, especially if that's what the goal is, because then he gets to make more content off of it. You know, not every conversation is going to be productive. And like, here's the thing, is that like not every conversation is going to be productive. That's just a matter of fact. There's people that I've wanted to talk to, and my wife's just like, don't talk to them. This is something we talked about. It's like, do you think it's going to be a productive conversation? I said, no, I don't think I'm ever going to change this person's mind on anything. And she's like, well, why do it then? And it's like, well, fair point. That's how I've been trying to lead myself. I don't think that think before you sleep is necessarily the type of person that's going to be able to change his mind in a productive conversation through videos. Like, do I think that you could one-on-one with him and chat with him and he could maybe change his mind? Sure, I think so. But I don't know that, you know, I don't think that that's not going to happen in a back and forth video essay competition. It's just not. So... yeah, I don't think it makes most sense to just not really worry about it.
Oh, man.
Just kind of more, I'd rather move on and not really respond to it.
Man, this is so fun. When I asked about that video, this was her first message. Hey, oh my god, that guy stinks. That can go on the record that I said that.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
He's made 2 videos about me now, I think. And each time it just brings an influx of sexist and radically far-right men to start picking apart, not even the content that I make, but my looks, my voice, basically everything that does not matter. They also tend to not watch my videos and base their opinions off the title itself. So very ill-informed community, I gotta say. It's been a hot minute since I watched the video he made about me, but I just remember.
I gotta say, the one about dad bods struck a chord because I said looks are not enough, personality matters too, and a lot of women are attracted to dad bods. Okay.
Itself, so very ill-informed community, I gotta say. It's been a hot minute since I watched the video he made about me, but I just remember thinking that he's jumping through hoops looking for a reason to be upset with what I'm saying. What he and his community do is essentially the equivalent of a Reddit snark page, and then the creator has to face an increase in video dislikes, hate comments, threatening DMs, until Sean makes a video on the next person. Another creator, Tiffany Ferguson, whose video, Mr. Beast's Philanthropy Will Not Save the World, was
Jesus, all these fucking women. Ugh.
Was responded to by Sean with his piece complaining about capitalism while being a capitalist. Got her ass. Ooh. Yep. Hassan House. Bad. Tiffany also clocked Sean's criticism as being just a trap.
If I did actually get any backlash from his audience, I literally did not see it or hear it. So I guess that's a good thing. It obviously seems like if you respond and try to, you know, react in any way, that seems to backfire for a lot of these creators, as he's talking about, because it encourages him to continue.
I think anyone expecting otherwise just doesn't know what it's like to be a content creator and have this happen to you, especially when the creators in question do not make response videos. And look, I'm a little piggy, okay? I like playing around in the mud with the other little muddy little piggies, but that's consensual, you know? I dove into the pit with my own videos. What Sean is doing to these people is not that at all. So anyway.
Again, I don't think the issue is like that he reacts to them or gives his opinion. I do think that he has like such a toxic audience, and he's not discouraging the toxicity enough. That's what the issue really is. You know, so he probably should just be a nicer person.
Anyways, that's the deplatforming claim, hopefully addressed. If nothing else, these examples should hopefully make you think before you watch, think before you sleep, before you watch yourself, thinking about watching.
You were getting there, buddy.
Sean's video and going to bed. The last of these 3 fabricated narratives that I want to talk about today is the idea.
I'm assuming that before he was going to respond to this video, Noah's video. I don't even know if I'm going to want to watch it because this whole entire situation, you know, I feel like we've done enough, you know, but.
Idea that Illy is woke. She's been infected by that wokeness, apparently. She's been drinking the woke aid, which is what I call it, because I think being woke is cool. This was the 3rd major motivation for the people who doxed her, and another justification for harassment. Sean is an anti-woke channel, so the label is pretty self-explanatory. He is against things that are woke, therefore things that are woke are, to him and his audience, bad. He supports this complex theory by framing what he calls woke ideas in a negative light anytime he brings them up on his channel. When you cut together a compilation of all the things he does this with, it's pretty funny to watch. In the past,
Yeah, I've watched a few different videos. He pearl clutches a lot over some of these issues. I've seen him do it constantly. Pretty much. What the fuck? I need a fucking. Oh, nasty woman. That's pretty much it. Like, he just seems to pearl clutch over like anything that's, I don't know, left leaning in any real capacity, regardless. I'm not saying that there aren't valid criticisms, but he seems to like take it and sensationalize it and be disproportionate about it a lot. It's like, I watched like a video about him, like gay shit, and he was out of the fucking. He was going a little kooky bananas on it.
He's used the term to talk about things like economics,
communism. Woke means communism.
Film and
media.
Woke comedians aren't funny. This is why the woke crowd continues to remain as terrible writers. Woke television shows.
I mean, fucking anti-woke comedians aren't funny either. You know, people that are like woke and anti-woke people are annoying as shit.
And woke movies aren't good.
Health and nutrition.
I imagine similar in New York, because New York is pretty woke. California, like, you can't buy regular lettuce. You have to buy organic lettuce.
Business tips.
Or
okay, crazy.
The woke people at the company are truly in the minority, and they get their way anyway because they're willing to get violent, whereas others aren't.
Higher education.
All the universities are super woke. All the schools are super woke. They have systems in place that attracts woke people.
Is this him lecturing his wife or girlfriend, Brittany Venti? Because I do that to my wife sometimes too. And then my wife says, "Oh, thanks for the fucking lesson, professor." And I go, "Okay." I say, "Okay, all right, I gotcha. I gotcha."
Like easy money and 3 months vacation.
Fashion and beauty.
If woke people are really focused on the betterment of mankind, then why do they keep making things ugly?
And
base, dude.
All sorts of.
I like jerking off to all. I mean, they're not ugly, fat women, so I'm assuming that's what he means.
Other stuff too.
For the past decade or more, they've been taught that capitalism is evil. They have been taught CRT. They have been taught modern feminism, and they have been taught other woke ideologies.
That's so many damn.
I mean, let's be real. Capitalism is a little evil sometimes. I like capitalism. I like the free market. But goddamn, man, health insurance is expensive for no fucking reason. I know it has to cost things. Okay? I don't know why it has to cost as many things. It seems like it's too much things. It seems like... wasn't that their asshole that bought like insulin and then increased the price exponentially? For what? Explain to me how that's good or productive or constructive. That's a bad capitalism. I like capitalism. I think that the free market can sometimes plug up holes. You know, it can adjust to market forces. You know, and I think it gives people the ability to, you know, work hard, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think that sometimes it's pretty fucking crazy. I don't think it's all bad, like some of these sussy vacas out there. But, you know.
Ideologies, man. I don't know how you guys keep track of all this stuff. It's really impressive, honestly. You take fish oil, you got some fish oil over there. It stands to reason, then, that anyone that has been deemed woke is de facto bad. Thus, even the seemingly simple act of using that label on someone, as Sean did with Illy in his second video's title, is a form of guilt by association.
Yeah, interesting. It's almost like a slur in his community. I kind of get it. It's just like a morally loaded word. Like, oh, they're woke, that's bad. And then you get to very easily just say that they're bad and kind of write off every one of their talking points. Yeah, okay.
Psychological priming for the audience to come into the content with a
come.
Less charitable attitude. As one of his viewers astutely noted in the comment section of his third video, among the many people begging Sean to stop milking the situation for content, this person wrote, "Not saying I disagree or anything, but this is getting kind of repetitive. If I see a woke, fat, or woman in the title again, it feels like that Dog and Bell food experiment. They're catching on to your tricks, man. You better tighten things up, so get a different bell or something, because they're gonna get tired of your slop." With Illy, though, it isn't just the video title that he does this with. He also does it throughout the content itself. So in this third section, we'll explore how he both
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get kind of rooted into that audience capture. You know, you post something well-meaning, and then maybe they liked one thing, so you're like, okay, let's kind of keep leaning into it, and blah, 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 blah. Then you before you know it, you've gone a little too far.
And explicitly implicates Illy in the heinous crime of wokeness.
Without even realizing it sometimes.
So first up, dumb. Woke people are dumb. They're illogical. They don't know how to research. They put their feelings over facts. They're triggered. You've heard all this before. A good example of this narrative is in Sean's video, Woke People Don't Know Anything. I mean, the title kind of gives it away, right? But, you know, let's see what's going on. It's his response to an episode of Jubilee's Odd One Out, where they're
Hey, you can't do that anymore, bro. You can't react to those anymore, dude.
trying to find which contestant of a group of feminists isn't actually a feminist.
I can't believe the woke Jubilee targeted 2 black creators. Racist? I think so. Call them out, guys. Oh, but the owner is Asian. Yeah. Asian people are racist, can be racist too. Okay. Have you ever been to a Chinese buffet? I have. And anytime there's black people there, there's no fucking crab legs left. Okay. I enjoy. Hey, I'm not saying anything. All I'm saying is, can you leave one for me, brother? I'm just kidding. I don't really like crab legs. They taste delicious, but I don't like I don't like anything that's like a Lunchable. Right? So I don't really like anything. So like when I go to a buffet, it's like, oh, or anywhere. Oh, like here, let me go make your crab. Go unpeel my crab. No, thank you. That's work. Okay? I'm not trying to construct my food. That's why I don't like Hook and Reel, because they give you a whole garbage bag full of food, and they're just like, yeah, take it apart, put it together. I'm not building a fucking Lego. I'm hungry. I'm fat. I want instant gratification. That's why Asian people are probably so skinny, because they have to put so much effort into their food, especially with the chopsticks. Bro, I just walk into a Chinese restaurant, and I'm just like, excuse me, ma'am, I'm white. And they know what that means. They give me a fork. I can't fuck around with I can do chopsticks for like sushi, but noodles? How the fuck are you going to eat noodles with chopsticks? That doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. Somebody's playing a fucking prank on me. So that's just insane to me. I'm just being real with you. You know?
Contestant asks the others how they feel about trans women in women's sports.
Yeah, you know, probably not great. You know, they have an unfair advantage.
Their contestant answers, citing an argument that opponents of integration tend to use.
I'm a trans person myself, and I think...
Ew. I'm just kidding. That's a joke, YouTube. Stop. That was a joke. I love trans people. I jack off to them. Okay? And what greater bonding tool is there than the bonding of the soul and the thing that can fill that hole? You know what I'm saying?
the root of that problem tends to stem like we're protecting children, but you can't say you're protecting children if you're kicking out trans children.
Sean disagrees.
What? The root of the problem for why people are opposed to trans women participating in female sports is children? No, these are two separate issues. First, the issue with children has nothing to do with sports.
So Sean goes on to give examples of what he's talking about, the quote-unquote real child trans issues, but the main thing here is that he's dismissing the idea that protecting children is a primary argument used in this trans women in sports debate. But that's...
Oh, I've never heard protecting children when it comes to the trans women in sports debate. I've always heard protecting, you know, I guess they'd say biological women. We'll call them AFAB people, assigned female at birth, because I am fucking woke as hell, guys. But yeah, no, I tend to agree that biological or trans women in sports probably not very good, unfortunately, at least on competitive sports. I hate to say it. I don't take pride in saying it. I'm not saying it for fun. I'm just saying that I just fucking died.
That's not true, right? Trans children are currently banned from participating in sports consistent with their gender identity in at least 24 states. There's over 50 more proposed bills to further restrict or outright ban trans women and girls' participation. Some of these bills go down to ages as young as elementary school. One of the main arguments driving these bills is that young female athletes are having their opportunities taken away by young trans athletes due to
they might be
their alleged competitive advantages.
We're going to protect fairness in women's sports. We believe that...
Hey, protect those feet and those shoes, those high heels, brother. You know what I'm saying? High heels are not good for your feet, man.
It's important to have integrity in the competition, and we think it's important that they're able to compete on a level playing field.
The idea that we have biological boys playing in girls' sports is the biggest women's issue of our time, and we should be fighting that every day.
Just for the record, these bills end up targeting an estimated less than 1% of youth athletes. Also, as of midway through last year, there were a total of 30 trans athletes competing in college sports. So there's more actual bills being proposed than athletes in college, at least. It's definitely a very real.
The argument there is going to be that like you kind of have to catch it while you're ahead. Because once you allow trans people in sports, it's going to be difficult to like stop them if we, and they do have a biological advantage, specifically trans women that have gone through a male puberty, right? So
huge, widespread problem that
should I play fucking classic Cataclysm?
Been a thing and wasn't just recently adopted as a wedge issue for Republicans. Anyways, so this argument is directly linked to any discussion about trans women in women's sports because, for one, it's literally the same argument. And mainly, in order to make it to women's sports, you have to first go through young women's and girls' sports. And
whoa, how'd you do that?
This point is actually brought up by Sean when he mentions youth athletes in an argument he makes 20 seconds later.
The issue with sports is because there are biological advantages that men have over women that make it so average male athletes can beat top female athletes who essentially sacrifice their entire childhood.
I want to listen again.
20 seconds later.
The issue with sports is because there are biological advantages that men have over women that make it so average male athletes can beat top female athletes who essentially sacrifice their entire childhood and much of their young adulthood to train for an insane amount of hours so they could be a top competitor in a sport like swimming.
Notice Sean's mention of athletes sacrificing their entire childhoods to succeed in sports. Those childhoods aren't just about training, though. They include competitions. Making it to the top level requires winning competitions, and according to proponents of these bans, cis girls won't be winning them if trans athletes are playing and taking over due to these alleged competitive advantages. So he's immediately wrong about that point, and then contradicts himself literally 20 seconds later with his example. But despite all that, watch how he concludes this sequence.
How can you comment on this topic when you don't even know what you're arguing against?
So there it is. Within the first 3 minutes of the video, he has established his narrative. Woke people are simply too dumb to even know what they're supposed to be being
based. Woke people are fucking dumb.
Woke about, even though,
Good thing never happens. The thing is, it's really not happening right now in any meaningful capacity because there's not a high acceptability of trans people competing in sports. But like again, generally speaking, going through a male puberty is going to give you an advantage. To somebody who didn't go through a male puberty. So like maybe if these individuals didn't go through a male puberty and they were trans women, I wouldn't really care. But everything we got shows that it will have an impact, brothers. So
he was wrong. Doesn't matter. Title, thumbnail, upload.
How do I feel like a trans woman in Call of Duty? Apparently it happened and she stomped out the other team. I don't fucking know. I don't know how video games are when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't know,
And 730, Jesus fucking Christ. So as far as Illy's video goes, Sean does this same thing. He loops her into this dumb woke person stereotype, but with a different method. It's a quote unquote criticism of her research. When Illy cites an article from Self magazine in order to define the concept of diet culture, Sean criticizes her for using this source in a way that just doesn't make any sense.
Oh God, please someone tell this girl that quoting a magazine article is not research. Stop acting like it is. That's like saying, according to my friend Rachel, dieting is bad.
He goes on.
I imagine that there's probably a little bit of a higher standard on that, but okay.
On to relate this citation to arguments made in books like Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility, arguments which he claims are unscientific.
I know this metaphor sounds stupid, but if you actually read some of the references that woke people cite, like Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility, they are full of, according to a friend of mine,
I don't know what that has to do with this.
Style arguments. That's not science. That's just someone's opinion.
So, like, she was defining a term. She cited the magazine for the definition of a term. She wasn't using a statistic or even making an argument. You don't need a scientific study every time you want to do that. Dictionaries would be billions of pages. We would run out of trees. The other strange critique here is that quoting a magazine isn't research. Why is he saying that? If I had to guess, I think it's because he seems genuinely unaware that there's such things as magazines outside of just grocery store tabloids. Every time he ever references magazines in these videos, he shows tabloid-style examples and talks about them like
she lost her belly at 66. Incredible.
Like they're just those damn ladies with just a damn lady gossip and all that crap.
This video is full of tabloid style.
That's true. When I go to a doctor's office, there's a bunch of nerd magazines like Scientific Magazine. Shut up, you idiot. You know what I mean, guys?
Research and bad information. Surely a magazine won't misrepresent information or lie to me to get viewership. According to my friend Rachel, dieting is bad.
I just love that though. Magazines are gossip.
Man, I can't read this bullshit. All these zoologists spreading rumors and lies around school about my favorite dogs.
It's just the Lion King all over again, man. Fuck this.
He uses this same girl sources argument soon after when the article's author cites a health services journal to define a term.
Then in Aubrey's article, she cites what looks like yet another opinion piece as proof of her arguments. Do any of these people use actual science to form their beliefs?
If you notice, once again, this source is being used to define a word. She's not citing it as a statistic. It's a word, man, not an argument. Nope.
Yeah, man. Hey, man.
That's not an argument.
I know. It's just definitions.
There's no science. Nope. There's no science here.
Yeah, there's no studies in me, but they're just not supposed
to.
to.
Do these people even consider that studies should form their beliefs?
Hey, man. I'm not going to argue with you. All right. I'm just trying to help. You seem really worked up. Everything good, man?
Yeah, no, it's things aren't good. I'm getting really tired of not having my own identity. Every 3 minutes, I'm shifting to a new place and a new time. It's stressful, you know, not knowing who you are.
Hey, man, I get it. Look at me, right? Open me up. My insides are full of all sorts of different shit. And my name's Dictionary. You know, I don't want to be named Dictionary. That sucks. There's so many words inside me I could use, but Dictionary, really? Webster, fuck off.
The other big, dumb, woke research critique comes earlier in his video. Illy cites a statistic about teenage dieting. In response, Sean finds a study on the topic and then criticizes Illy.
About 1/2 of teenage girls, 1 in every 2, and 1/4, 1 in every 4 of teenage boys will have tried dieting to change the shape of their body. Okay. Like I said, I don't think that most young people, like teenagers, need to really diet necessarily, even if you're a little overweight. And I mean, not you. Sometimes you do. I think you need to get proper, like, you know, exercise and dieting, you know, education. That'd be good in schools. But again, like, I mean, the way that people get their education through dieting is typically through bullshit. And then they end up, I think, having eating issues later on in life because of that. But
for that study, even though he isn't even sure if that's the study she used.
So I looked up where Alyssa got the quote, to which she did not properly cite, so maybe this is the correct source.
Ooh,
the first
got her. Cite your sources, girl.
problem I see is that this is a sociological study from 20 years ago. Way too old. Studies like randomized...
That's right, dude. I like 'em young. We like 'em young here, right? I'm just fucking being stupid.
surveys are out of date after 5 years because culture can change quickly. The second issue is that this page cites no sources, which means...
I could have swore this guy cites like fucking study. I almost guarantee this guy has cited that 2003 fucking Swedish like study when it comes to trans people before, and he's talking about 5 years. And this is true. 5 years can be a long time when it comes to new sciences, but it's just a little ironic.
Means I don't know any of the specific definitions of the information here, so effectively this is an opinion piece, not scientific data. In fact, this page is so old that half the links are broken. Seriously, fire the person who did this research.
So his conclusion there, that she needs to fire her researchers, was reached with criticisms of a study that might not have been hers. Now, let me be clear on this point. Let me be clear. Sources should be fully cited. On YouTube, there's no source requirement in the community guidelines, which means that people often don't cite them, and this can be a problem, especially when it comes to misinformation on serious topics. That being said, though, if Sean's criticism had been limited to just that she should have provided a direct link to her statistics, that'd be okay. But that's not what he did. What he did was pull up what amounts to a random study, imply that it was her research, tear the study to shreds because it was a bad study, and then scoop up that unidentified shredded paper off the ground in order to call her a dumbass.
Fire the person who did this research.
You can't do that, man. That's not how research criticism works. I don't even know how research criticism works, but I know it's not that. And also, even if he just criticized her incomplete citation, that'd still be a nitpicky kind of critique because finding actual good data with the information she provided was extremely not hard. When you search teenage dieting National Library of Medicine, which is what was in her video, the shitty study that Sean found was the first result, but the next one, like the very next one, is a far more substantive paper with a bunch of working citations and evidence that Illy's statistics were accurate. And if Sean doesn't like this one either because it's too old, well, here's a newer one with the same numbers and some of them actually showing increases in these dieting rates. So given that Illy's statistics were fine, and given that both of the definitions her earlier sources provided were uncontroversial, why is he doing this? Why is he being so pedantic? And, well, because Illy's supposed to be stupid. He has to build his case that she's dumb. You're not supposed to trust her information, and since her information is, fine, he's got to make her look dumb somehow. So this is how he chose to.
Yeah, I mean, the only point that she was making is that there are young people who get like too wrapped up in toxic diet culture. It wasn't really that big of a deal,
Do it. Despite Sean's lazy research and bad faith nitpicking, or because of it, I guess, he led viewers to the conclusion that she doesn't know what she's talking about, and then carried that conclusion over into his follow-up videos.
If you didn't watch it, how do you know what's in it? Well, a friend of hers told her it was bad. Wait, isn't this the exact kind of research that I criticized her for in the video?
Oh god, please someone tell this girl that quoting a magazine article is not research.
Blah, 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 cherry-picked, blah, blah, non-academic sources, which is really funny because Alyssa's main sources were a magazine and a fat acceptance advocate. Hell, they didn't even put a person's name on this 20-year-old article.
Maybe this is the correct source. Maybe this is the correct source.
And so, because critical thinking is illegal on commentary YouTube apparently, nobody thought to challenge these claims, and thus one element of Sean's narrative reigned supreme. Illy is a dumb, dummy, woke girl who's doing research for girl dummies. And also, she's dumb and woke.
If you're taking advice from your fat friend and you named him as a valid source, it's GG.
Some of the information she was using in her
it's GG, baby.
video as sources were ultimately just opinion.
I'm getting fucking lost in this video. I'm gonna be absolutely real with you. You know what I mean?
Pieces not backed by science at all.
Examples of like this occur a lot in the video where Illymation makes like some kind of infographic that doesn't make a lot of sense scientifically and starts kind of citing towards sources that also don't make a lot of sense.
How exactly are you supposed to deconstruct and debunk an argument if you don't understand the source material?
So there we go. That's one board nailed down onto this frame of wokeness. Woke trait number 2 is racism. Wokeness
I love racism. Finally, something interesting. You know what I'm saying?
enjoyers are racist. They categorize people.
What are they? What?
By frame of wokeness. Woke trait number 2 is racism. Wokeness enjoyers are racist. They categorize people by race.
I think this is an incredibly racist narrative that is predominantly perpetrated by woke people because they are the only ones who are categorizing people by race and gender.
They won't let him say it or whatever. They won't let him say what he wants to say.
That's why I don't like it when woke groups say horrible things about straight white men and then say, you want
I like it because I have a kink, a shame kink. So black women, if you want to DM me how much you hate me, you know, I could be into it. I could be into it. Or Hispanic women, or Asians, or indigenous. I do not discriminate. Or white. You could do. I don't give a fuck. Just say nasty shit to me. No, I'm just kidding. Don't DM me. I will block you. Okay, I will block you.
Say anything about their group.
Seriously, guys, this is messed up. Someone should do something about this. One element of this supposed woke racism is, according to
I will say that there sometimes is a higher acceptability of hatred towards white people in some of these woke spaces. I'm not gonna lie, it is true. Categorizing people by race is not racist if you're trying to figure out some of the problems, systemic issues in our society. That's another part too, but you know, sometimes it does get a little racist against the whites. I know it's not a hot take, people don't want to hear it, but if you're gonna say cracker, say it with the A. Okay, you don't have. There's no need to throw out the hard yar. All right, that's an old pirate rule. No hard yar.
Sean, any conversation about systemic racism.
Systemic racism because there's more white people than there are of other races.
Damn, this guy looks like a big mouth character. In a good way, okay?
No, that's just a way of being racist towards white people, I think.
This is important because if he's unwilling to engage with ideas like systemic racism, then his framework of understanding racism is going to be limited to only one type of racism, which is individual or interpersonal racism. Sean's limited framework in this area comes out in videos like this one. The effect woke ideas are having on people. When a contestant in a cut game show is asked why he's unemployed, he responds by saying that the jobs he's applied for have said he's unqualified because he's black.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was just full of shit, though. I remember watching that. That guy was just like making an excuse-making machine.
This is how Sean responds to that statement.
What? That is literally illegal, and it's been illegal for over half a century.
Okay.
If what Chris said was actually true, then lawyers would be jumping to help him sue those companies on contingency, and he'd be a millionaire right now.
The old standby. Racism is illegal. Checkmate.
Pretty sure that guy was full of shit and he was just lazy. He was just making as many excuses as possible, just to be clear.
Racism. When Sean hears this statement, he reverts to the assumption that the hiring discrimination which took place must have happened at the individual level, as in this person must have been directly discriminated against based on their race, in violation of these racist hiring laws.
Then we have Chris, who claims he's a victim of racist hiring managers who are attacking him for being black.
Most people would consider that to be an overtly racist act, and the person who did it to be a racist. Now, we don't know the exact details of this cut contestant's situation. However, Sean's assumption that it couldn't have happened because this kind of racism is illegal is very telling. There's a far more likely and very commonplace explanation here, which is, you guessed it, systemic. The laws against racist hiring practices have been in place for over half a century, but despite this, hiring disparity between races is still a huge problem. White people are 50% more likely to get job interview callbacks while holding the same qualifications as non-white applicants.
Hey, you ever think about being born white? It's got a base. Why isn't this working? Oh my god. I wiped us.
And these rates haven't significantly changed for decades. I'm not sure whether Sean knows this or not, but regardless, his instinctual jump to assume that this person is lying is a product of, among other things, a lack of any sort of systemic framework for understanding racism. So, okay, Noah, what does any of this have to do with Illy? Well, there's 2 points in Sean's video where race is brought up, and both of them are linked with Illy, and both of them, I think, fall under this woke racism category.
I don't remember her saying anything about race in her video. That's weird.
It's Sean's thing, you know, woke racism. That's not me using it. That's what he would call it, I assume. As we looked at, Sean compares Illy's arguments with those made by Robin DiAngelo in her book White Fragility, which is an anti-racist type book. As he stated before, this book falls under the sort of anti-white racism he often rails against on his channel.
Like I'm reading White Fragility right now, and it's extremely racist.
By associating Illy with DiAngelo.
Damn, why are you talking to your girlfriend like that on fucking YouTube? Why don't you talk to her in person?
and her book as yet another woke person making woke arguments, he is drawing on that previously set up framework to imply that Illy is engaging in, or at the very least endorsing, woke racism. The second instance where race is brought up is just one comment that Sean makes about one of Illy's citations. Sean references a passage from this article and summarizes its meaning for the audience.
Or maybe give some advice on how to eat healthy? Nope, she just says you're a racist if you think being thin is good. Oh no, not again.
Now, Sean did—
Well, no, I know that there is some, like, you know, body shaming or being negative to okay, let me just be like intelligent for a fucking change. Fat phobia is technically rooted in racism, right? Black women tend to have bigger bodies, or they hold their shit differently, their proportions differently, and historically we would shame black women and say that they're unhealthy. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Sorry, even though they're not necessarily because of, like, yeah, but nowadays it's a lot of it's like, hey, you know, we're kind of a little different now. When you got My 600-Pound Life, it's a little bit different.
Didn't explain what he
Jesus
said there.
fucking Christ,
the author is
pissing
calling
me
people
off.
racist. He just treated it as self-evident, echo chamber moment. But is it? The line he highlights states that there's plenty of racism and anti-blackness baked into this colonial idea that thinness and food restriction equal goodness. The author goes on to elaborate on this point by citing a book on the racist origins of fat phobia. Based on what he highlighted, I think Sean read the line, there is racism baked into the idea, and took that to mean that the author is saying anyone that thinks this idea is a racist, which is, once again, a product of his only understanding of racism being what people do to each other. You're either a racist person or a not racist person, and if you're not racist, just don't even suggest that there's ideas that have any racism baked into them. No. Holding an idea that has racist roots is not the same thing as being a racist in the individual sense. Racism's link to fat phobia is historical and systemic, and as the author notes,
yeah, it just depends on why they're using it, but I don't know if the author was trying to use it maliciously. So
the idea behind it is very common, and because of that, he doesn't want to hear about it. He doesn't want his audience to hear about it, so he does their thinking for them and sums the passage up in his own biased way.
She just says you're a racist if you think being thin is good. Oh no, not again.
To some of you, I imagine that this point about racism might seem like a bit of a reach. Like, these two examples are a very small part of his video, and the doxers didn't say they doxed her because she's like Robin DiAngelo, or because she cited an author that cited another author that wrote about racism in a way that—
I imagine he's going to make a point where, like, all of it's rooted together in, like, a huge package,
wasn't pro-racism. But that's kind of the problem, right? Illy doesn't have to have any direct connection to these ideas to be what Sean considers a purveyor of woke ideology, because woke ideology is an umbrella term that he uses to call things dumb and bad and racist and dangerous and so on. The mere fact that she's associated with such people in any way is more than enough to shoehorn her into the stereotype. Also, the doxers are, like, extremely racist, so it does make sense that an anti-racist book and a historical exploration of racism's modern effects would be on their ideological hit list. Surprising, I know, that racists don't like that sort of stuff. Who could have thunk? The last wokeness narrative here is that Illy, like many woke people, is a danger to children. Like the others.
That does seem to be an interesting narrative when it comes to, like, some online conservatives, that everything's about the children until it's time to talk about some kind of reasonable gun control.
The groundwork for this idea has been laid in previous videos. For example, in his video, The Consequences of Woke Parenting, the woke parents in question are parents that support their kid in doing drag performances. In the video, Sean claims that child drag performers are only doing it because the adults around them want to fulfill their weird—
I don't know, man. I think it's weird. At the end of the day, like, let's be real. I don't think that anything negative is going to come from your kid doing drag. I just think it's kind of weird. Okay? Based alert? It's a little bizarre. But I guess it's not really hurting the kid. I mean, so I guess who really gives a shit?
Weird fantasies.
Are we just letting kids do whatever they want with no parenting at all? Or are these kids actually being used as a means to an end to fulfill some kind of weird fantasy of the adults around them?
See, that's where it gets weird, man. I don't think that that's happening. Like I said, there's a lot of people who do drag. If you ever talked to, like, gay people before, I do, unfortunately. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding. There are some gay people who like drag, and they're like, oh, when I was younger, I wish that, like, I was able to be comfortable enough to do drag. Right? So even if you disagree and you don't think that kids should be doing drag, and that's fine, like, older gay people doing drag, they're not, like, trying to groom kids into doing drag. They're like, oh, I wish that I could do that when I was a kid, so it's cool that you are. That's literally it. It's, again, everybody assumes that there's so much malicious behavior behind, like, everything that's going on, and it's just annoying. It's like, not everything is malicious. Most things, I would say, are not malicious. So, like, dial it back a little bit. Fucking gay people aren't grooming kids. People doing drag aren't grooming kids, okay? Not all drag is sexualized. Just chill the fuck out.
Point when the main kid in the video takes off his cape during a
performance. And we didn't see any sexualized drag from that kid in that video, because I watched that video.
Sean compares this to a stripper at a strip club and the crowd of people to strip club patrons.
Wow,
Whoa.
That crowd cheered very loudly after he removed his cape. Interesting. What do you call it when a person is praised for removing clothing while dancing and then receives money for their performance from the audience?
Later, he heavily implies that the drag community is full of pedophiles due to the material they promote.
Well, considering the material, the people who have that take probably need to spend some time behind bars.
The material in question here, the stuff he shows right before that statement, is clips of the kid just kind of flipping around on stage, goofing around. It sounds like he's seeing something in these clips that I'm just not seeing. A little weird, but his argument here is simple. There's villains in his story. The villains are preying on children.
I'm a villain, not a monster. You know what I'm saying, guys?
For their own sadistic fantasies, and most importantly, these villains are woke. We've already seen Sean's frequent allusions to Illy's child audience and her bad influence on
woke people are villains.
them.
Considering that in this post you stated that your market is children, do you really think this is being a good role model?
Not that it matters, like, at all, but just for the record, this isn't actually true. Illy sent me her audience statistics, and the under 18 number is tied for her lowest viewer demographic. But
well, a lot of people are obviously going to lie about their age too. Like, just keep that in mind. Like, you know, most people that are under 18 are going to say that they're 18 on there. But
regardless, we've seen the thumbnail, which clearly depicts cartoon Illy giving children her patented and very real and harmful dating advice that is definitely what she said and exactly how she meant it and in context.
Here's a fact. Chocolate is
half a couple up. He shows a screenshot from her Tumblr where she reblogged a screenshot of a tweet with a joke, Jesus Christ, about the Taco Bell Baja Blast Gelato, and then he said this.
And please stop promoting fast food to kids and giving it social proof.
See, this would be so
okay.
So funny. Just
I mean, yeah, I would say don't do fast food because you can get a better deal from 12 to 3 at Applebee's, baby. $10.99. $10.99 for a meal and a drink with fries. Just saying. Stinkers.
For how ridiculous it is. She's promoting fast food by reposting a picture of ice cream to her 2,000 Tumblr followers. This guy's a fucking social media macro fascist. You're not allowed to post food anywhere just in case a kid sees it and immediately sprints to the grocery store to buy 1,000 of whatever they saw and go home and eat it all in one sitting and die instantly in some Tom and Jerry style explosion. Or how he highlights the caption she added that says hell yeah, as if that's some smoking gun of her teenager bound gelato MK Ultra. That would be funny if it weren't being used in part to basically accuse her of manslaughter.
Eat themselves into an early grave.
Or I guess here, child slaughter. No, not child's laughter, autocorrect. I would.
Very funny. Yeah, listen, it's okay to have anything in moderation. If she had just said that, it would have been taken better. Like, hey, you can have things in moderation. Like, you can have carrots or fucking chocolate. Just have it in moderation. Okay? That's would be the sub point of what she was saying. So
wish it's child slaughter that he's accusing her of.
Oh, seriously?
I know, it's ridiculous, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that seems like a very extreme accusation to be making.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why people didn't notice that, but
yeah, super weird.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of his videos are just being extraordinarily disproportionate in what's going on and, like, pearl clutching a lot. He might have a decent general point, but
well, I'm gonna get back to it.
Yeah, no, of course, go ahead.
All right, I'll see you later. Great work today, by the way.
Yeah, holy shit, your spelling was atrocious.
What?
What's up?
You say something?
No, man.
I'm pretty sure I heard you say that my spelling.
No, I didn't say anything, man. You're hearing things, man.
I mean, you're right. I am hearing things. I'm talking to myself in the microphone as if I'm two different people.
Yeah, you are, or we are, or I am. Okay.
Cut it. All right, so in this video, Sean's biggest example of Illy's harm to children has to do with her politics.
Alyssa loves to abruptly insert her leftist politics into videos for kids.
The video he's referencing is about a kid that came into Illy's class all fired up after learning about some of the human causes of climate change. When Illy is supportive of the kid's response, Sean is very normal about it.
Yes, because telling a little kid that the world is being destroyed is completely appropriate and not traumatic at all.
Well, I will say, like, you shouldn't be I don't remember the specifics, but I think I remember making this point. You shouldn't be disproportionate about what's going on around you. Like, climate change is real and it is a problem, but you shouldn't be giving kids like a doomerish perspective on climate change that's disproportionate. You should have like a healthy relationship with wanting to better the world, right? You don't want to make them fucking go ballistic and insane. But the same thing goes with like this whole, LGBTQ groomer narrative that Think Before You Sleep seems to sometimes support. If you find some things unreasonable, that's fine, but don't get all disproportionate and like fucking work everybody up about everything. It's not healthy for anybody.
Traumatic. I mean, yeah, climate change is scary, but what does he want her to do here? Lie? Tell them it's not real, that we're not doing the things that we are doing to destroy the earth? We are. All of these perceived threats, these elements of wokeness, are being stacked on top of one another. They're overlapping.
Stacks on stacks, baby. Racks on racks, you know what I'm saying?
And multiplying into a giant big woke monster, the result of which is a deeply negative psychological bias towards anyone that's seen to be endorsing that monster. And when that's tied in with more serious accusations like harm towards children and being a danger to people's lives, then yeah, of course the audience members will hate this person, regardless of what they've actually said or done. When this vague concept of wokeness is built up as being essentially a cancer to the world, fighting against it is basically the most brave and noble thing you can do. And one way to do that for these guys is doxing. So yeah, they did it. Mission accomplished. I imagine there's a handful of you that may be asking here, Noah, isn't all this just guilt by association? Sure, the doxers said that they hate fat acceptance, censorship, and woke ideology, but a lot of people hate those things, and they're not doxing anybody. How can Sean be blamed for a few whack jobs? And well, there's two things I'd like to
I could take a whack job right now, baby.
say to that. Firstly, Sean and the doxers don't just happen to hold the same opinions in some unrelated way. He's the reason they hold them. These ideas didn't exist before his videos. A great way to see
Well, I think the ideas existed before his videos. Let's be real here. I mean, you could argue that he's just giving inspiration to be able to or justification for people to, you know, kind of enact. That's how I should have had it the whole time. Look at that handsome boy. Enact their hatred, we'll say. You know,
see that, aside from what we've already looked at, how he made them up, is by looking at how Illy's video was received before Sean's viewers brigaded the comment section. If you scroll down 2 months into the comments, what you find is an overwhelmingly positive response. Viewers were helped by her video's honesty about her experiences with bullying and negative body image. As a person with anxiety, it is really hard for me to not feel insecure. My friends are always prettier than me, so when they say I am so ugly, it hurts me. This video really helped me understand myself.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you, Illy, for sharing your story to all of us.
You give me fucking motion sickness with this, brother.
I needed this because even though I'm 11 years old, I have to deal with this every day, and so does my friend. He is always fat shamed by some of our friends at school, and I feel bad for him every day, and all I can do is try to help him any way I can.
Hey, listen, little bullying builds character. You know, I don't know if that's true. I'm not sure if it's true that bullying builds character. I talked to my wife about this one time. I said to her, I think bullying builds character. You know, you get made fun of for being fat like I did when I was a kidster, and it builds a little character. And she said, I don't think that that's true. It just builds a different coping mechanism, right? So now, you know, I like to bully myself. I'm a little jokester, but you know, maybe if you had a healthier relationship with that when you're younger, maybe you'd have a better or different way of dealing with it. You know, like if somebody starts making jokes about you, you'd be like, okay, I'm just not going to interact with you. You know, so.
Thank you so much for addressing this. Thanks for making me feel like I can still be pretty, despite my body type not being exactly the same as my friends. Other viewers related to her struggles with shame-based diet.
Bro, get this fucking kid off the screen. I'm getting horny. I'm kidding. Sorry.
My first non-consensual diet was at age 11. The shame. This video truly made me cry.
Yeah, it's probably don't need a diet at 11 unless you're like super chunky, you know?
I've struggled with eating disorders, and every time I see myself, I can't—
That's true. It builds character. It's more likely to bully. That's a good point.
But cry. I've been on a relapse recovery cycle, and this video makes me feel better. Also notable here is the amount of people who were helped by her video that weren't even fat. They struggled with the same issues of body image and unhealthy dieting, and found them in Illy's video because that's what Illy's video was about. I am very skinny. I have been told to eat more, and asked if my parents feed me. These things hurt me. I still have not been able to gain weight, but I'm happier than I've ever been. I can relate to a lot of stuff that you said in this video. Thank you.
Listen, just go mad. A gallon of milk a day. A gallon of milk a day, brother.
I was never the fat kid.
Mark Ripto. A gallon of milk a day. You know?
I can't imagine how it was for you.
Well,
I'm actually
guys,
the fake skinny one. I also feel extremely guilty, sad, and angry at myself for eating a single spoon of ice cream because of my high cholesterol. I'm 17.
Damn.
I can't find pleasure in almost any physical activities in my life. I'm going to college soon, and I don't know if I can ever have a
That's terrible. What the fuck?
healthier lifestyle. I still don't know what to do, but your video made me happier about it all. Thank you. Your video on diet culture and being a fat kid really helped me. I struggled with an eating disorder since I was 11, but I got out of it a year ago. Your videos made me feel better. Your content has really made a difference in my life. I've started going to the gym, seeing a therapist, and doing meditation. Thanks to your motivation,
That's nice.
You saved me, and I'm grateful for that. The only way that someone could have gone from this initial reaction to overt hatred, threats, and accusations of literal killing is if they'd been led that way by a video like Sean's. He didn't expose any hidden messages here. He didn't unveil any secret evil plots.
Well, he just took her out of context because he doesn't have the correct life experience that would make him understand what she's saying. Like, he doesn't have a relatable life experience. And he doesn't seem like a particularly empathetic person. I don't think Before You Sleep's the kind of guy that can resonate or understand most other people. He's just I think he seems like a very, like, emotionally sheltered person. So...
He created this by misrepresenting the video. He did it to make people mad, and it worked. The other reason I don't think this is just guilt by association is because Sean didn't just give them these ideas, he also gave them his inflammatory conclusions to those ideas. She isn't just pro-fat acceptance. No, she wants people to eat whatever they want.
I'm pro-fat acceptance. I think that what my fat acceptance, though, is like, hey, don't bully fat people, and don't hate yourself for being fat, but have, like, productive relationship with that and try to better yourself slightly every day. You don't have to make drastic changes. Just make better choices. A little bit here and there. You know, have some vegetables with your meal. Maybe drink more water. Ladies. Go to the gym. Exercise. Stuff like that. Oh, or did I say extra fries? Incredible.
Even if they're on the brink of death.
And then they'll eat themselves into an early grave.
She isn't just woke. No, her wokeness makes her a literal danger to children. She's okay with them being traumatized.
And not traumatic at all.
She isn't just pro-censorship. No, she wants to maliciously terminate Sean's channel.
Deplatform me, deplatform me.
And ruin his life, when all he did was criticize her.
Actual legit criticism.
Constructive criticism.
Criticized her.
Constructive criticism.
And I don't think that means that criticism should be banned on YouTube.
He had some pretty good criticisms in his video.
He didn't really have very good criticisms in this video. He just took a lot of things out of context and then told people like, hey, don't, you know, I don't know. It wasn't really, I mean, I watched that before. Like, I watched the whole thing. I'll put it in the description. It really wasn't that, it wasn't really that much of a banger. She was just giving like a personalized life story about herself, and then he fucking, well, actually, the video.
Illymation, who literally cannot take criticism at all.
That's literally all he did was criticism. He's just trying to help out. Do I think that Sean made his video with the intent of Illy getting doxxed?
No, of course not.
No, I don't. He's well aware that a video of his causing a doxing isn't a great look for his channel, which is probably why he has yet to comment publicly about it, despite being well aware that it happened.
Yeah, I wonder if part of him hasn't said anything about it because he's possibly worried that like he might push away part of his audience that he doesn't want to leave his audience. You know what I mean? But I don't think that would happen if he was like, hey guys, stop being rude.
And yeah, he is. Here's him acknowledging it in a Twitter DM to Illy's friend Dylan. Far from apologizing like, you know, a normal fucking person, he did the opposite. He, in the most condescending way possible, placed the onus on Illy to apologize. That was the only way to get the harassment to die down, apparently. Also noteworthy from this DM is Sean's insistence that Illy keep quiet about the doxing. I'm not sure how true this is about it potentially making things worse if she says anything.
You can never tell anyone publicly you have been doxxed because all that does is warn the assholes that your information is out. He's got like a decent point there, but I think that he should be focused more on criticizing his audience.
But clearly Sean would benefit from her following his instructions here, whether it made her safer or not. Also, there's this weird blackmail thing too about
you don't like blackmails, dude? Come on, that's racist.
This community post that he made, that he called an apology being intended to make it easier for Illy to do her own apology, which if you actually read this post, it's complete bullshit. It's 10,000 words.
Thank you so much for the $2. What website do you use to create thumbnails? I use this PixLR. Time Wizard. Go watch the Papa Got Leftovers channel.
To say, no, I should have worded it better, but I wasn't wrong. And despite that, his viewers still got mad at him for doing anything other than continuing to harass her. Great community there. One that would definitely be super receptive to an apology from someone they hate more than anyone else in the world. Also, as it was happening, Sean was actively reading the comments and responding to people before and after instances of doxing. So yeah, he knew. However, whether he meant to or not ultimately doesn't matter. He produced such a heavily biased and dishonest critique of her work, her personal story, and concluded with multiple serious, inflammatory, and false allegations. Whatever his intent might have been, she is being harassed, she was doxxed, and these things would not have happened if it weren't for what he did. Sean has responded to my videos before, and I do hope he responds to this one. I personally would like to hear his explanation for, all that shit we just looked at. The main reason I hope he responds is because his channel isn't going anywhere, so it would be good if he acknowledged this situation so
what are you, picking a fight? What the fuck?
that hopefully his future videos don't lead to their targets getting doxxed again. That would be a positive outcome, I think. But what do I know? I'm just a little woke guy. Illy is currently safe, but as I mentioned in the intro, the legal fees this situation have stacked up have been a lot. So she started a GoFundMe. I'll leave that link in the description if anyone would like to contribute. If you like the video and want to support the show, you're welcome to join my Patreon. Got draws for the amazing work on the video thumbnail. Thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video. No, I don't have a Twitter, but Patreon, that's where you should follow me. Okay, see ya.
All right, cool. Interesting video. Yeah, I guess Noah Samsen W on this one a little bit there, brothers. All right, cool stuff.